Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We greatly appreciate you tuning us on in as we get ready for Ron and Lourdes. We're going to talk some paranormal tonight. We're going to have some fun with them. We're going to get into ghost stories and seances coming on up. I'm pumped up for it. It's a great way to end the week, and I'm glad you are all here as well, including Kitty Cattywhack in the gold medal position, Race Fan taking home a silver, Tim Mothman and his goatee sharing the bronze medal tonight. Attorney at large Michael Morris and Paula Fost. How you guys doing? Thank you for joining us in the YouTube chat room tonight. Trucker Andrew and Robert Lamoth. Nice to see you. Road Flare, JSCO, Lisa Smith. Thank you all for coming on in. Mel WD40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because you can't talk paranormal and seances without being lubed up and ready to slide into this topic smoothly. So thank you, Mel, for the lube. Don't forget to give yourself a little shot if you know what I'm talking about. You're like the Tin Man. You need a little lube right there in the heart area. I'm going to bug you over that for a long time, Mel. I don't even feel bad about it. I don't. I'm teasing. You know I'm teasing, and I love you, buddy. Frankie B, how are you? T-Bone, my man, what's going on? Necessary Dialogue. Aussie Tiger's here. Aussie Tiger will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Kathy Evans, how are you? Erica Stover and the lovely and talented Deanna Ann. Nice to have you all here. Mama Catherine, there she is. Mwah! I love you, my dear. I hope you enjoy this show. It'll kick off your weekend, pardon me, just perfectly. Perfectly. Thank you for the kind message this morning, too. I love you, my dear. All right. Bill Sardellis, good to see you. And who is next on our list here? Let's scroll on down and say hello to Operation Shutdown, Walter Kochubinski. And who is next? Well, it's Flubber Lane, everybody. Yep, Flubber Lane. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? As we scroll on down next, and we say hello to I'm Hardcore over on X. And David Barnes, welcome to SOR Chat. Todd, welcome to SOR Chat. Jay Trueseeker, Search and Destroy. Good to have you both here. Integrationing, nice to see you. Algaray over on Twitch, so excited for Ron and Lourdes tonight. He did 3,000 sit-ups in 6 minutes. 6.01 if you want to be exact, but we're going to round it down to 6 minutes. Good job tonight, Algaray. We appreciate your hard work. Deborah Rooney, how are you? Carol Amario, Undead Jed, and Andrew B is here. Andrew B will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Jessica S. How are you tonight? Okay, Andrew Fricker, the Commonwealth. Andrew, how are you, buddy? Good morning to you. East Coast Turnaround on X. Nice to see you. Desert Rat and United We Stand. Thanks for coming on in. Good morning, Skip to Malou. Nice to have you here. As we scroll on down on our roll call, it's Jerence Carter up next. Jerence Carter. Kitty Cattywhack, thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Let's get the radio side started. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We have Ron and Lourdes coming in to talk some paranormal supernatural. We're going to have some fun with them. We are in roll call on our YouTube side, about 45 seconds away from starting tonight's show. Vam Skyder, how are you? Welcome to the show tonight. As we continue on with our roll call, there's Luscious Jules. If you wave to Jules, she always waves back. Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, nice to see you tonight. And who is next on our list? It's Two Shadows. How are you? And Cryptical Crossroads, how are you? Thank you for joining us. And let's see here, 25 seconds. Super chat is open. Hi, Panda on Fire. It is open. It is open. It is open. Our store is open on our website, spacedoutradio.com. Why do I have my finger up? Because we do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. You can wear our clothing in public and be proud to wear it. You don't have to cover it up. Do me a favor. Throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods. We're together. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by listening to Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have an amazing show tonight. We're going into the paranormal, ghost stories, seances. Ron and Lourdes are here. We're going to have a great show with them, and they are from GonYac Paranormal. We're going to get to them momentarily. But first, we'll let you know in hour 3 that Swamp Dweller will be here for his creepy story. Then right after that, notice I'm building the suspense because we're getting into the paranormal supernatural. We got to build that suspense. So that's when you take those William Shatner pauses in between words. After Swamp Dweller, we're going to go right into the Q&A with extra small Lee Strauss. All right, let's get right to it, shall we? I'm looking forward to this. Ron Yacovetti and Lourdes Gonzalez are innovators behind the Digital Séance Experience, a unique method of spirit communication using a closed-circuit analog white noise system. With no RF input, no microphone, no data-bearing signal, TDSE allows anomalous voices to audibly emerge with timing and contextual relevance, challenging conventional explanations and long-standing assumptions in paranormal research. Ron is a 6-time author, Society for Cyclical Research member, Chief Communications Officer for the IDC Institute, and an ambassador of analytic idealism under Bernardo Castro. Lourdes is a licensed New York State court reporter and research activist for the IDC Institute. She is widely regarded as an authority in voice phenomena. Together, they advocate a conscious, first, metaphysical, idealist approach that reframes paranormal experiences as a natural expression of mind, encouraging critical thinking and philosophical depth within the field. Their website is GonYac, that's GONYAC, GonYacParanormal.com. So let's not waste any more time. Let's bring them on in. Ron and Lourdes, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Ron, how are you?
I am good, sir. Thank you for having us. We are honored to be here. The production's fantastic. The rapport with your audience that you seem to have is fantastic. So we're super excited.
We're very excited. Thank you.
And Lourdes, thank you for joining us as well. Thank you very much. And, you know, I have to pay these people in the chat room. Radio audience, they listen everywhere they want. But these YouTube people, in order to make me look good, I have to pay them. I have to pay them with my blood, sweat, and tears each and every night here. They don't let me go. They don't.
They must love you. They must love you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Let's learn a little bit about you guys. This is your first time on this show in our history, and I'm so appreciative. I love hearing new stories, innovative science towards this evolution that we call the phenomena, which I absolutely love. So, Lourdes, let's start with you, if you're okay with that. How did this journey begin for you?
Well, like most people, I've had paranormal experiences since a little girl. And well, my family practices espiritismo, which is a form of mediumship in the Caribbean. And so I had a traumatic experience. They are physical mediums, and my mom didn't practice from the whole family. And I saw my cousin channeling, and she bumped into my mom, and then my mom and her were channeling, and I was young, and it traumatized me. So from then, I kind of just stayed away from it, even though I would have dreams and things like that, like, you know, some people. But after that, I met him in 2016, and he brought me back in. It's like, right, when you think you're out and then bring you back in. So he brought me back in, and I was hooked from that first EVP that I heard. That first EVP that I heard, that I know it was only me and him. And it was a simple yes, and that's it. I was hooked. I was fascinated. And then we got into what we are into now, which I guess Ron can explain. But that's how I started with trauma.
Are you okay with telling that story about what happened when you were younger? Or is it something you don't talk about?
No, actually,
Well, you're okay telling it. You've told
now I am. But
Yeah.
the reason why I'm able to tell that story, honestly, was Johnny Zaffis told me something back in 2021,
Yeah.
which made me open up to my story. And so then I started telling it. So honestly, I haven't spoken about it until 2021. And that happened when I was, oh my God, I don't even know, 10 maybe. So yeah. So now I'm quite comfortable saying it.
Well, what happened?
Well, this is the weird thing. I was so used to seeing my cousins and my aunts channel, right? It wasn't a big deal for me. The whole family practiced, but my mom did not. So
Hang on 1 second.
when they were doing the ceremony, my cousin accidentally bumped into my mom. And then all of a sudden, my mom started moving and speaking in ways that I know was not my mom. So now it became real for me.
Well, that was weird. Did you see that? How probably just a technical issue. Okay. But all of a sudden, the lighting kind of faded as she started telling that story. And then the camera blanked out. I'm hoping that's just a technical issue on their part. I'm really hoping that that's just a technical issue. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me right there for a second. So for our radio audience that may not know, we're actually, we also broadcast on YouTube and other social media where we are actually viewing the guest on camera. And what just happened a moment ago was pretty creepy. I'm hoping it's a technical issue because Ron got up. Maybe he hit a cord or something, but all of a sudden their lighting changed. And then right after that, the camera signal just dropped as she was telling her paranormal story, the one I kind of egged her on to tell. Oh gosh, I got to find out here. Hold on, we're gonna bring him back in. Was that something technical or paranormal?
It was it was something technical. There was a connection that was loose, and it popped out, and then it turned the computer off. And I caught
Sorry.
it. I got up because I caught it as it was happening, and with no warning, it just powered down. So
That was the weirdest thing because as I was just saying to the audience, I was just egging you on to tell your story. And then you got up, Ron, and the lighting all of a sudden dimmed, and then all of a sudden poof. And I'm like, oh my God, this spirit.
it was paranormal. Yeah, we don't do that for everybody.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so it was a technical issue, which yeah, you're breaking my heart on that one because that would have been awesome.
That would have been
Right.
awesome.
Let's go with that then.
But thank you for not lying about it and saying that it was something that it wasn't. That's really cool. Now we know what kind of people you are, which is good, honest people.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah,
thank you.
technically inept at times.
All right. Well, let's get back to your story. And if your camera breaks this time, we know it's paranormal. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so you left off where your mother got tapped.
Yeah, my cousin bumped into her, and my mom started moving in ways very oddly that I know she doesn't move, and speaking in ways that I knew it wasn't my mom. And it scared me. I saw it as a bad thing, right? And because it there was no permission, right, for that to happen. That was the whole intent when we do it. And so when that happened, it was very traumatizing. And then at the end of the night, when everything was over, my cousin is in the kitchen and she's cooking something, and it happened to her without permission. So all of that just traumatized me. But I guess the weird thing is that I really thought it was all normal, right? Because I grew up with it since birth, you can say, since I can remember. So, but when it happened to my mom, who was the only one in the family, she's the youngest out of 11 kids. When it happened to her, that's when it became very real to me. And that's when I got traumatized by it, because she didn't practice. And now this is happening. And I knew it wasn't her by the way she moved and she spoke. I used to argue with them because I didn't want to go anymore. So we stopped going to the ceremonies. But she would do other things. And since it turned me off, I was that little kid arguing, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not right. Nah, 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 and so then I met him, and I guess I just went right into it. Even though I had that, it just kind of like I just went right into it, but I wasn't speaking about it. I still kept it to myself. I told him, but I really just kept it to myself. I wasn't comfortable telling other people. But Johnny's office in 2021, he came up to me and he just simply said, "We got to talk about your mediumship," and he walked away. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't do that to me and not like explain more. And then so we spoke about it, and that was the first night that I said anything about my family history and the things that I've experienced. And then from there, I was comfortable to express it to other people.
How did you feel after you got that comfort?
Much better. I guess it was something that I needed, that I know that I needed. It helped
Perfect.
me, yeah, it helped me. I mean,
Mm.
I guess I'm gonna say that I probably still have some trauma. Well, there was something else that happened. I don't know if you want to. There was something else that happened to me in 2007 before I met him. I had a dream. One of my friends that I was close to, she was pregnant, and I had a dream, and my interpretation was that she was gonna have a miscarriage. And of course, I was like, well, I can't tell her. I'm just going to keep it to myself. And when it happened, because it happened, I didn't know what to do with that, and still didn't say anything. And then, like, she would come into a coworker of mine. She would come into work, and I would feel this emptiness. And I thought that it was because, she felt sad about the miscarriage, and I'm picking that up. But then a month later, she died of an aneurysm. And so that traumatized me. And so I stopped having those kind of dreams, which I've always had since a little girl. I always had those kind of dreams,
Wow.
but that trauma. So I have a lot of trauma with it. But I think slowly I'm getting over it, and the more I don't think I ever even said that story. I think that's the first time I expressed that story. So Ron has been instrumental in helping me with Johnny's Athens and amongst others to be able now to speak more on those experiences, and I feel great about it. It makes me feel better. So still
That's
working on
amazing.
it.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. How about you, Ron? Your paranormal experiences, how did this journey begin for you?
So I didn't have not nearly as thematic and exciting a story as she has. Um, this kind of stuff always fascinated me as a kid. Anytime there was an old show that had ghosts, or if you remember, I mean, these were reruns when I was a kid, but I'm probably dating myself now a little bit. Even like the old, like Abbott and Costello's, when they had like the Dracula, or there was a Phantom or whatever. Those types of the supernaturalish kind of things always fascinated me. The $6 Million Man had an episode with Bigfoot that was played by the wrestler Andre the Giant. Like that stuff always got me. And I always thought there was something really cool about all that. But there were a couple things growing up that happened that now, looking back with a different lens, and I'm trying not to reflectively fit it into a category necessarily. But there were a couple things that happened that now I would say may have qualified as something inexplicable or anomalous. For me, starting this when I lived in Los Angeles for 14 years, hence the area code of my phone number that you found out earlier. That's where I started doing paranormal stuff, or at the time in the beginning, under the banner of ghost hunting. And back then, I got pretty hooked, similar to how she did with EVP on voice phenomena. I was at the Glen Tavern Inn in Santa Paula, California, with a group of people, including the late Debbie Constantino. If you remember Mark and Debbie Constantino, who were
Yes.
EVP gurus. The tragic death for the two of them. So I was with her and a group of people, and then Chad Lindbergh from Fast and Furious, and he did that show with John L. Tenney, which I'll never remember the name of, even though somebody told me. And they were doing a spirit box session, third floor. We had the whole hotel. Everybody introduces himself, then the last two people, and then Chad goes, and hi, I'm Chad. And it was, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 seconds, give or take. And a voice came out of the SB7 spirit box and went, I know Chad. And I was like, what is he holding? Where do you get one? And how many things do I need to sell to afford it? Like, I was in, I needed to have this thing because I thought the voice phenomenon thing was already cool. But when I saw real time, that really got my attention. So I got drawn into the idea of real time communication, which is called ITC, or instrumental transcommunication. And for the better part of probably 20 years or so, starting with Frank Sumption with the first Frank's box, the first sweeping ghost box, that was the standard for ITC, was the sweeping ghost box radio or spirit box. And I don't weld and do those types of things. If I did, I would be high-fiving you with fewer fingers. So I don't. And
No,
I wanted to.
I'm not good with toys like that either, my man.
Good. I appreciate that, especially since you have more of a beard than I do. Now I feel more vindicated.
Thank you.
So I wanted to be involved with ITC stuff because I was really interested, but that was not going to happen for me. And all the people who seemed to be names of note were builders. They were making boxes, and quite well. They were doing great stuff, but that wasn't going to be my path. I come across the works of Dr. Annabella Cardoso, who's the last surviving of the original guard of EVP and ITC pioneers, not the TV pioneers, but the actual pioneers of EVP research. And she was approachable, and I got in contact with her, and she basically mentored me into doing what was called direct radio voice, which was using a vacant short or medium wave, long wave station, no sweeping, and just playing the static out of the radio. And we started doing that, and it started to yield voices without the whole sweeping, without getting any kind of broadcast. It was no radio emission station. It was vacant.
Right.
And I thought that was fascinating. It was made most famous by an Italian gentleman in Grosseto, Italy, named Marcello Bacci. And when I saw what he was getting, I had never seen a sweeping box, come close to the efficacy of the method he was doing. And I said, we're going to try that. And we got ourselves a world band radio. And back in the early part of 2019, we resurrected direct radio voice. To my knowledge, at least in the United States, nobody was doing anything other than sweeping ghost boxes for spirit communication stuff. So we were very underground with it for quite a few years. We came in contact with another gentleman who's a very well-respected and known ITC individual from Florida named Keith Clark. He introduced us to the software component that we use now for the digital seance, which is basically the older methodology of direct radio voice, just pure white noise. And he used a software setup through a VST or a virtual studio to do everything people do in review with their audio capture, but to do it in the moment of contact. Because if we want to have conversation, once you go home and put it in your software, it's over. So
Yes.
he influenced what we did, and then we started doing real-time filtering. We were the first ones to slow down the flow of the live white noise that had never been done before on ITC. Not a sweep speed, because we're not sweeping, but the actual flow of the white noise through the software. And then we went to analog generators. So we have no RF signal. There's no radio influence. There's no data in the white noise. There's no microphone input. So it's closed circuit from a sound and from a classical physics perspective, it's closed. So it shouldn't receive anything and it shouldn't be yielding anything, but the voices do come through. And then through fine tuning, we've got it to the point now that between vocals, like when we ask questions or sometimes when we don't even talk, it's almost entirely radio silent until a voice comes through, if a voice comes through. So that's what the digital seance is, and that's the evolution of the process. And then that's how I got involved in doing paranormal stuff, because the real-time thing again would just captivated me to see that was even possible.
We have 2 minutes to go. We're going to get into a lot of ITC and other phenomenal evidence that you have caught paranormally. Explain to our audience, Ron, what ITC is, what we're looking for through EVP. What are we doing here?
So originally, I think everything in that category was called EVP. ITC, or instrumental transcommunication, originally was coined by, if I'm not mistaken, that was Friedrich Jurgensen.
Yeah.
I forget, I think it was in the 80s. I might have the year wrong, because it's been a while since
It's in the 80s.
Since I called. Okay.
Mhm.
And so, and it was meant, I think, basically to delineate the difference between recording it and then listening to it later versus doing it in real time, even though technically you could still consider all of it electronic voice phenomenon, because that is in fact what it is. But ITC was meant to use a third-party, non-influenced device that has the capability of functioning as the medium. It's the medium through which messages can come through. And then what we did was we basically took everything that was low-hanging cynical fruit that we could vet and get out of the process and see if we still got voices. One of the things, and we can do it after the break because I know time's rolling down. One of them was circumstantial from a place that we went to, and we realized we didn't need the radio anymore. So that was the genesis of it, and then that was how it evolved into what we could make the most vetted, secure process that we could say we don't have any causal line of direction to go, that's where the voices are coming from. That's how they're coming in. We don't know from where they're coming, but we do know that they are coming.
And that's the interesting part too, because you can never predict when the paranormal is going to happen, but when it does and they start talking, there are those awesome nights where all of a sudden everything is lighting up like a Christmas tree and they are yapping like a young toddler that just found their voice. We have Ron, we have Lourdes. They are from GonYac Paranormal. You can go to their website, GonYacParanormal.com. That's GonYac paranormal.com. We're going to get into the digital seance, EVPs. Can we talk to spirits and will they reply? We're going to learn all about this coming up in the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. All right, we are clear. I just want to say hello to a few people here. Rainwater, how you doing? Mike Rivers, nice to see you. Number 29 in your program tonight from Stockholm, Sweden. Starting on defense, Lars Jansson. Hugh Janus. I love your name. I do. I'm not going to call you Hug Janus. Not going to do that. It's Hugh Janus. We know what you're doing there. It's a funny name. Let's just enjoy it. Because I do. Okay.
Closing some stuff that it lags a little bit.
Blue Cruz, how are you? Julie Rios, nice to see you. And one thing that I do have to do, we have a birthday in our chat room tonight, people. Yes, Erica Stover turns 30. She's not 29 anymore. She rounded it to 30. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Erica. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Erica. Love you, dear. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Always gets me. All right. There we go. Now I'm caught up. Scouse, how are you? Erica better have heard that. I haven't seen her respond yet. She might be upset if all of a sudden, like, she didn't hear it. That would, like, really suck if she went to, like, the bathroom or something during the break here, and that's when I sang Happy Birthday. Oh. Flat Sixer, how you doing? Ron, are you having fun so far? Your microphone's on mute.
Yeah, no, we're having fun. I didn't know if there was someone in the audience you were talking to named Ronnie. You're having fun.
You're Ron. She's Lourdes.
Yes, we're having fun.
Yeah, we're having fun. This is great.
Good.
You have a great audience.
Yeah, fantastic audience.
Yeah, they're fun. They're good people. They're good people.
I love the names too.
Oh, Todd 8909. He's from 222 Paranormal, and him and his wife Carmela co-host Stay Haunted.
Oh, nice.
On Monday nights at 9 o'clock.
I love the 222 because actually when we started the direct radio voice, the station that we used that was non-broadcasting was 222.
Yeah, it was a long wave channel.
Yeah, it was 222.
I would love to try your device at my investigation location. I would love to.
We would love to do it.
we are way in the forest where there's not a single radio station signal.
That's the best place to do it because where we were in Sterling Mine from New Jersey Paranormal, it was Chris Theron and John Ruggiero, and they invited us there, and that's how we discovered to use the white noise generator, because we were using the radio and we were deep inside that mine and we got voices, and then we started thinking about it. We're like, he was saying we don't need the radio frequency, and I thought at first I told him white noise machine, and he said, well, that's not going to work because it's pre-recorded. So then I said, well, how about white noise generator? And that's how we started doing, and it worked.
Yeah, and that was one of the ways we were able to vet the process, because what's one of the number one critiques that any ghost or spirit box gets when you hear a voice, you go, well, it's a radio. You're picking up radio, you're sweeping radio. So if you get a voice that comes through the radio, that's not an anomaly. You're just misinterpreting what you're getting. So now we can't get a radio signal. So it's essentially done more than what you would get if you put the process inside a Faraday cage, because not only are we negating the influence of a signal, we don't even have the opportunity to get one.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. So it's natural results. It's not something that's being impeded.
Yeah, and the one thing that's integral to the process is that we are looking for what you would consider, from a procedural standpoint, interference, because the white noise has no data. So we want something to to become part of the process that is not natural to what it is that we're orchestrating on our side. That's the form of interference, and it's we think it's a process of transducing where the white noise is functioning almost as a springboard for a non-physical signal.
Hold on right there. We're coming back in 8 seconds. Thank you, T-Bone, Erica, and Kitty Cattywack for the super chats. Here we go. We are into the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. We greatly appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. All right, here is Ron, here is Lourdes. They're from GonYac Paranormal, where we're going to get into the Digital Séance Experience. Their website, GonYacParanormal.com. Thank you so much for being here, Ron and Lourdes. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us. We're having fun. This is great.
All right. Let's get right into, for people who may not know, what is an EVP?
So EVP is electronic voice phenomena. It is, in short, the practice of recording with a device that can record voices that are at least coming in or that register at a frequency level that our hearing does not pick up. We hear 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. That's the range that we're capable of hearing. These voices or these responses are not at an audible level for us. So the recording devices seem to be able to do that. And then when we play them back, the device modulates what it is it recorded to the point that it is now within our hearing range and we can hear it. One of the questions I had seen a moment ago in the chat from Jules was, why not just use the old magnetic recorders and why all the white noise stuff? So there's a delineation to be made there. What she's suggesting is an excellent thing to do if you're recording and doing the practice of EVP, as just described. For real time, to try to hear the voices in real time and have dialogue, because they're not at levels that are audible to us normally, where our sensory input doesn't pick them up, the real-time conversation, at least at that level, can occasionally somebody hear a disembodied voice that's not through record and review? Yes. Does it happen more often than not? No. So ITC, in the use of either radio devices or what we're doing with generators, the white noise is working as an audio support. EVP research, in fact, led from EVPs to record and review, from that to direct radio voice, by using white noise as a background for audio support to make more of these voices detectable even for the devices. And then the voices started to emerge from the radios. So it allows us to have dialogue in real time. And for a while, we thought that the process was working through what's called stochastic resonance. When any one frequency goes into the white noise, it matches one of those. Then from matching, they resonate together, and then you get more amplitude from it. And then it raises it above the noise floor, which we, through process, are filtering out to have it silent. But then I realized that stochastic resonance cannot be the case, because if it were, the signal or the voices coming in would have to be at a level that's within our hearing range, because the white noise is in our hearing range. It's 20 hertz to 20,000. So now we have to look at this process from a different perspective, which is to say that this is a non-detectable, non-physical, non-measurable signal that's coming through, coming in, coming forth, that the white noise is doing what we believe the only way we can make sense of it is what's called transducing it. The way if you wanted to listen to VLF, which is very low frequency, it's under a long wave. They used to use it for emergency services. Submarines used it. And if you get a VLF converter, the receiver will pick up VLF signal, and then it'll bump it up to, let's say, 1450 shortwave. So your radio, which doesn't have VLF, can play it back to you at shortwave level of, let's say, 1450, but the VLF converter is picking it up, so it's transducing it to the range that the device is able to facilitate. So we think that's what's happening. The white noise is working like a springboard, or in the process of transducing something that is a thought form or an energy signal that is not detectable, is not measurable through instrumentation, but then from that, it brings it up to a level where it's audible. And then because we're doing it in real time and we're filtering the noise down, we get something that happens in real time.
And the cool thing about real time, which is something that was amazing, after doing it for some time, we started really dialoguing back and forth. Like, it's not like we get a conversation for a half an hour, but we have had dialogue back and forth where if I say something or he says something, they'll answer back and we'll answer back and they'll answer back. Like if we're having a conversation, which it was fascinating. Well, it's always fascinating when it happens, but the first time it happened, it blew our minds. Like when hi Lourdes, hey, how are you? And it goes, I'm good, babe. And there was a time back and forth, and we were like, it was just amazing. So the real time that's what's so special about the real time, because through that, at times when we take it out, people have had loved ones that come through, and it's very impactful for them. So when we bring it out and we're able to help someone have that experience, to me, that's what it's all about, really. Honestly, helping people when they need that message for closure or they're missing someone, and that's what's fascinating about the real-time communication.
When we do it at home, we can do it for ourselves, we can do it for experimentation to try to improve it and all that stuff. When we bring it out to events or paracons or whatever, we're in service to the guests, to the people who are there, and we hope they get something that's personal to them. Very oftentimes they do. They'll hear it themselves. Things will come through that even if we hear it, that contextually doesn't make any sense to us. A lot of times, one of the things I think that happens in the paranormal field is we generalize a lot of terms. Like information kind of gets used loosely, like there's only one version of it, but you've got like symbolic information and you've got semantic information, right? When something comes through and we understand the words, that's incredible because we're getting words through this white noise. But when there's something that it means to somebody else, we hear it's something said, but to us, it's just the words. But that person, it's very personal to them. It's speaking to the color of the car and the model they just bought, and we don't know that. Then it has semantic information, and then it's something that means something to somebody, right? That's what's really rewarding for us when we do it, and that's why when we take it out, we look forward to it. To answer the one question I saw too before, we do have voices in other languages come through, and honestly, it seems like when these other languages will come through, it's almost like circular reasoning, because we don't know it's coming through except for the fact there's somebody in the room who speaks it and understands it. But we also think that the only reason we're getting it coming through in the room is because there's somebody in the room who speaks it and understands it.
Yep.
How do you know where the voices are coming from?
We don't. So this is he has great questions. This is interesting because this is a slide that not want to say slippery because it's not a bad thing. This is a slide that's very transitional into when you mentioned earlier that we are of the school of thought of what's called analytic idealism. I've been studying and part of an ambassadorship for a few years under Dr. Bernardo Castro, who holds 2 PhDs. He just started an AI company, a computer science engineering PhD and philosophy PhD. Idealism is a metaphysical philosophy which speaks to what the nature of reality may be. Why that's important to what you just asked is that when you say that the voices are coming from a place, some other place, another dimension, the other side of the veil, an alternate universe, another planet, whatever, you are then creating a situation where there is some other place that is empirically elusive. We can't validate or falsify or test it. And we're inferring that it exists because we're getting a voice that's not physically in our environment. So through inference, we're saying that there's another place that it must be coming from. But under idealism, we don't think it's coming from another place. We think that it is coming from around us, and it is coming in some way, as she always says, not to or from, but through us, because the experiencer is part of the experience. In order to have an experience, there has to be an experiencer. And so we're part of it. So the worldview that is accepted now is what's called materialism, or now it's called physicalism, which says that all there is physical stuff, right? The world is exhaustively explained in numbers. Everything physical out there as we see it, touch it, taste it, and stuff is exactly how it is. We're seeing the world for what it is. And then consciousness, or your mind, is an epiphenomenon or a byproduct of brain activity and neural firings. That's what creates your consciousness, is your brain. And so all experiential states and tastes and emotions and smells and flavor, everything's up here. That's physicalism. That ideology doesn't allow for a lot of what people call the paranormal, or these experiences, which is why it gets dismissed and mocked all the time. Under idealism, reality is not fundamentally physical. Reality is fundamentally mental. Consciousness, subjectivity, is the foundation or the framework for reality. It is the only pre-theoretical given that we know as human beings, consciousness. Everything we know or think we know or theorize or hypothesize is through the application and use of having consciousness. So it is, for us, what we would call the reduction base. When you try through reductionism to explain something by going from very complex to simple, and you reduce down, once you get to the level of consciousness or subjectivity, you can't go below that. If it exists outside of consciousness, it may as well not exist for us, because we can't know it. It's unknowable to us. So that's important, because now under that framework, to answer the question a little bit more finite, the voices, we think, are part of what's considered universal phenomenal consciousness, right? So we are within this consciousness, and we also have our individuated states of consciousness, our own subjectivity, and those voices are from and part of that.
So
Go ahead.
we believe that the voices are all around us all the time, just like radio frequencies. And the only reason why you hear it is when you turn on the radio. Well, then it modulates it, and then you can hear what's coming through the radio. So we believe that the voices are around us all the time, but we just don't have the tools to hear them.
Right.
So when mediums get the message, they're picking up on that. We use the TDSE as our medium, right, and it modulates the voices that we cannot hear with our own tools that we have with our bodies.
Yeah, our sensory input is designed for survival, right? So hearing anomalous voices and stuff like that is not salient to survival. So we did not evolve to pick up those things. We know that our senses don't pick up everything that's out there, right? There's infrasound, there's infrared, right? We don't see and hear everything on the audio and visual spectrum.
It's limited, yeah.
So it is safe to extrapolate from that there are things within what we consider reality or nature that escape our normal sensory input. Dr. Kastrup likens our experience to a pilot in a cockpit, right? We're born into the cockpit of a plane. We have dials that are giving us measurements of the surroundings, of what's going on around us, the same way a pilot has dials with needles and stuff that are telling him what's going on around the plane. He could fly, navigate, and land the plane purely off instrumentation, off what the dials tell him, even if you blacked out the windows. The difference between the pilot's experience and ours is the pilot doesn't mistake the dashboard for the sky. We do. We think that everything we taste, touch, smell, see, feel is the world as it exists out there in its totality. And that's naive. So we know that there's things outside of our sensory input. So for us, what this process does is, like Lourdes explained with the best example, terrestrial radio is always flying past our heads. We are not picking those signals up. We're not hearing the radio. When you turn on the radio and you get the music, what is the device doing? It's modulating something so that it is within our hearing range, and then now we experience the music, even though before that, the signals are flying past our heads at all times and we don't hear the music. That's what we think the method does with these anomalous voices that she said perfectly are, we believe, all around us, because we are within consciousness. Consciousness is not within us.
Let's get to a couple of those EVPs, shall we?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. First one here. Let's listen to it, and then you guys can. It's called Bad Connection. So we're going to play this, and then you guys can explain what's gone on here, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Here we go.
What happened here? What happened to us? Sorry about that.
All right, let's break that one down, and then we'll play it again. What set that one up?
That one was basically, as we developed the digital seance process and added things to it, I started with a different computer and I ran out of resources. And that particular night, I was maxed out on resources, and it started buffering and skipping, and it was going it was driving me nuts. So I freed up some resources temporarily. I realized I needed to get a more powerful, like a gaming computer. And when I fixed it temporarily, we stopped the recording, and then we had restarted it. And that was my question, just to see if I would get an answer. I said, what happened? What happened here to us? And then the voice says, your instrument appears to have pulsing beats, bad connection, which is precisely what the problem was, because it was going that. So there were pulsing beats that were happening from the buffering. So that was an immediate response. And then you heard me apologize, because I heard that in real time quite clearly.
All right, let's play it again.
What happened here? What happened to us? Sorry about that.
So it's basically saying that your connection is snafu'd, and
Yeah.
you need to fix it if you want to communicate better with me.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and that's out of pure white noise, without radio signal, without microphone, no noise banks, sound banks, word banks, phonetics, like an app. It's just pure analog white noise and a closed circuit.
System. Yes, closed system. Because people tend to think, because we're using white noise, it's not out in the environment. It is within a closed system.
Okay, so who are you talking to? Do you even know who you're talking to? Or do you just say, hey, is any spirit around that can help us out with this? How does that work?
You want to take it?
Well,
I think we almost have the same answer for the most part with different words.
yeah, you take it.
We don't necessarily always know. I think we can comfortably lean into sometimes what we think is the case, when especially when a guest feels like they're talking to a loved one. I have had a couple instances what I believe was my mother coming through. In those instances, we can safely guess at, speculate that that's who it is. It can become more compelling based on specifics and such. But we think again through the framework, the metaphysical framework of idealism. We think that per survival theory, that you don't. I've heard it said that somebody said once that when you pass, you take your consciousness with you. You don't take your consciousness with you. That is you.
You are conscious.
Yeah, that's it. To say you take it with you is like saying that your carry-on bag checked itself in as a carry-on bag. It doesn't, it's circular and redundant. We are who we are is what our consciousness is representative of. So I think that there is a certain level of maybe of agency that exists when we are no longer in what we would call physical form, and we can kind of explain that. But I think that's what we're communicating with. It's part of the collective now.
Right. It's like when people have near-death experiences, there's one instance of a story that I've heard, that the lady saw her father. And then when she saw her father, she said that she became her father.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't believe that we're talking to physical individual beings, but as part of the collective that at times will present itself as someone's mother, someone's father,
Right.
someone's sister, but it's not a physical entity.
Right.
It's that they're part of everything now. And if they want to if the collective consciousness wants to give you a message and present itself as the loved one, then that's what it will do.
Right. Right. And that's and some of the mentality that we feel like it has to be a physical entity in another dimension or in another realm or vibrating at a level we can't see. And some of that comes from the metaphysical framework of materialism or physicalism, which is the reigning worldview now for some time. Because it's almost it's a methodology where it has to be that in order for it to be veridical, for it to be empirically grounded in something. It has to be physical, and we know from quantum field theory and quantum physics for at least 50 years that physicality doesn't exist in and of itself. That physicality is a result of observation and measurement. Things don't have physical parameters that once we observe them, then they reveal those. The physical parameters are the result of observation and measurement. So we know that. So that in league with what we believe is with idealism, that things exist in abstraction. These things are mental processes. In cases like this, when it's a person, it's a loved one, it's memories and thoughts and stuff that came with them. These things exist together. They're grouped by association in what we would call in philosophy a cognitive neighborhood, right? If you remember your first car and you're driving along the coast and the top's down and what song you had on and the wind blowing in your hair and that and the person you were thinking about and the song that was on, that's all part of a cognitive neighborhood. Those are a collective bunch of thoughts that are grouped by association. So we think per survival theory that when someone passes on, that those cognitive neighborhoods will still persist as consciousness does, but it just doesn't have in what we would call an embodied physical form. And under idealism, the physical body, the brain, is the representation of our individual consciousness. It's what it looks like. It's the extrinsic appearance. There isn't a body and a soul that is separate, and then the soul inhabits the body like it's renting space. I know that's a popular belief in theory, but no one's been able to explain, at least in principle, what the interaction would be on a physiological, on a biological level. How do these things commerce? How does the soul and the physical body commerce? Right? It's never been explained because it's just a theoretical idea that's based on an ideology that says and it really comes from, I think, from a Cartesian duality, which is that there's two things that explain all of reality, which is mind and matter. Right? You have mind and matter, and these two things are incommensurable. They're separate, but collectively they explain all of reality. But the problem with that is that idea is an internal contradiction, because they say that mind, mental stuff, and matter, physical stuff, are two separate, incommensurable things. But then they say that the brain creates consciousness. So if you're saying that there's physical stuff that exists in and of itself, and then there's mental stuff and it's separate, and then you're saying that the physical stuff, the brain is creating the mental stuff,
Which is
it's an internal contradiction, because you're saying these two separate things, and then you're saying that physical stuff is responsible and giving birth to the mental stuff.
It falls apart.
So it's a contradiction. It doesn't hold up. The idea that the physical world exists separate from consciousness and that your brain creates consciousness, that worldview, that's a metaphysical view. And I think it's important too. I think in the paranormal field, the term metaphysics or metaphysical seems to get conflated with candles and crystals and incense. Those are things that have applications within a metaphysical framework, but metaphysics literally means that which stands behind the physics. Science will tell us what nature and reality does or doesn't do. It asks questions of nature, and through experimentation, outcomes happen that will provide a result. It doesn't tell us what nature and reality is. That's a metaphysical or philosophical position, which is important to know, because if we don't know our metaphysical stance, we will either have ideas and theories that are representative of multiple different metaphysical ideas, and then it conflicts across the boards. Or what we see, I think, a lot in the paranormal today is that everybody's invoking science for the purposes of credibility and validity, and then they're immediately violating the same scientific principles that they're invoking.
Hold that thought. Ron Yacovetti, Lourdes Gonzalez, GonYac Paranormal. More EVPs when we return and audience questions in hour 2. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we are clear. We're going to take a quick break here. I'm going to put you guys back in the green room, and I'm just going to disappear. We got about 5.5 minutes, okay? Be right back.
Great.
Here. Let me go here for a minute. Right. Let us bring Ron and Lourdes back in. Got about a minute to go. I'm having a lot of fun tonight. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. What a cool way to spend our Friday.
Yeah. I don't usually stay up this late unless we're in an investigation. But I'm having fun. It's fun.
Free your mind. How are you? Nice to see you. Anybody else jump in here that I didn't see? I don't think so. Thank you tonight to Benno T-Bone for a membership gift. Erica on her birthday. T-Bone in the super chat
Happy
as well.
birthday.
And Kitty Cattywhack. How are you? Thank you for the super chat. Our store is open, spacedoutradio.com. So make sure you check it on out. And we do not have ugly swag. Make sure you go to cariboucon.com. cariboucon.com. That's with 2 O's, not O-U, 2 O's. cariboucon.com. September 18th through 20th, right here in my hometown. A nice little Paracon with great speakers coming up. We want all of you to come over and attend. So make sure you check it on out. We have people coming from California to watch. Here we go in 3 seconds, everybody.
It is Saturday.
It's the second hour of Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We really appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do we got here? Skyalytic. Skyalytic is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's bring in our guests tonight. Why not? We have Ron. We have Lourdes. They are from GonYac Paranormal. GonYacParanormal.com is their website. We're talking about EVPs and digital seances as we try and figure out this paranormal mystery. Ron, Lourdes, welcome back.
Thank you.
Sir.
All right. I want to play a couple more of these EVPs because they totally fascinate me. Okay. The next one is going to be My Haunted Manor, the Buried Woman. What's this about, Lourdes?
You asked the right person.
Well, we were at My Haunted Manor, Samuel Miller Mansion, and they were rumors that that there may be a woman buried in the basement. So we went downstairs and we started asking questions, and we got some answers that was relevant to what they're saying is happening there.
Yeah, they had mediums tell them that there were 1 or 2 bodies buried under the dirt floor of the basement. This is in Columbia, PA. The My Haunted Manor USA guys, Daryl Marston, Jeff and Trey Bader, they're affiliated with the My Haunted Project, which originated in the UK. They do a fantastic job at this place, and we did an episode there, and then we ended up being in 3 of the episodes of their first season, which I think is coming out on Prime, just from this one visit, because it was so telling. And you hear in this an example of what I said before. The noise floor, the static white noise from the analog generators is almost, if not non-existent. So between questions, you may hear a blip here and there, but you don't hear any noise, and then timed and relevant responses.
And intention, because I think intention is a big part of it, because it was a great group, and that night was fire. Like you said, when they start, everything starts lighting up. Well, it was like that for us with the Digital Séance Experience. From the beginning, we started getting voices, and Daryl was like, "Stop asking questions," because they weren't filming yet.
I asked a couple of questions before the cameras were rolling, and I got a couple of direct responses. And Daryl Marston went, "Stop asking questions. Wait till we get the camera going," because it was just rattling off.
Yeah.
So this was just a continuance of that.
All right, let's hear it.
If they started digging, what would they find? Person.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah, ask the person thing.
Is it a male or a female person? Male or female? Woman.
Woman.
A woman.
When you are having real-time communication like that, looking at your reaction, Ron, on that, I mean, you don't expect that. You don't expect to be having a conversation like we're talking right now, especially with a spirit. What is going through your mind, Ron, when you're all of a sudden having this real-time communication?
So it's funny because again, everything connects back to the metaphysical positions that we have of what we think reality and nature is, because the reason stuff like this will shock us, and then even repeatedly so, even though we designed what we're using and we know what it's supposed to do, and then it does what it's supposed to do, and I still react that way, that's because we're inculcated into this idea culturally that this is not supposed to happen. It's fascinating and it's exciting, I think, especially when we're out somewhere, because we hope that it performs. We hope that for the people who believed in us enough to bring us out, they made us part of their show, that they get from this what they hoped for. Not about appearances and images for us, and we'll never identify, no matter how popular or unpopular, as para celebrities or as experts or authorities, or this is just what we do. We are students, perpetually students of the game. So when that happens, what's going through my mind a lot of times is I'm elated because the experience that I know is possible, I got to share with these people, and it was relevant and timed, which was very pertinent to them, to their story, to the narrative at this location. When this is not something that we can manipulate and influence what we may get. I was also really pleased with, and sometimes it can vary, but that was a great example of where it was damn near silent. You don't hear anything until the words come out. That took a long time of honing all the different components and things that go into the filtration process. It did not start out that way. When the gentleman Keith Clark from paranormal.com introduced us to the software, he had a version of how he ran it, and I just went bonkers with an understanding, a good grip on how audio works, but I'm not an engineer of audio. So I did stuff that was probably counterintuitive, counterproductive for someone who was formally trained in it. But I wasn't trying to produce Beyonce's next hit. Not for lack of trying, she doesn't call me back. But the point is that the voices I was going for is I'm doing something that is not within the normal practices of producing sound. And I'm not producing sound necessarily, right? So that's my reaction, is really usually in the moment that I'm happy that it, for those who are there, that it worked, that it produced something that had meaning.
I mean, for me, it gives validity to the mediums, because, you know, when a medium does it, you have to take them for their word. But we have this that they can hear from themselves. So we love working with mediums, because usually when we work with mediums, the medium will do the readings, they'll do their thing, and then we turn it on. And if we get stuff that validates what the medium said, boom. That's like a wonderful thing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's fascinating when it happens.
That's an important reason why we mentioned how it works, because like if you're using an app, someone can say, well, if the medium said that somebody's Uncle Tim is here and he died from a heart attack, and then the app says Tim and heart attack, they go, well, it could be hearing you with the microphone. Our method doesn't allow for that. There's no environmental audible influence possible through what we're doing. So if you think that from somebody saying something and putting it out there in the room, that influenced the result, then you are bolstering the concept of psi phenomena, not audio contamination, because it's not possible through the method as it exists.
Let's play another one. This one is part 2 of the Carnworth. Yeah.
Oh, Carnwath. Yeah. Carnwath Farms. We went with a group named Full Moon Paranormal. It's an all ladies team, which is fantastic. And this place we were in, you'll hear the sound. There's a little bit of an echoey thing to it. We were in this big cathedral, like it used to be part of a church thing at this, I think it was a hospital facility. And so it's echoey more. We tried to deaden it a little bit environmentally, but so you'll hear that. But it's 2 different segments from the same sitting from that.
All right. Here we go.
How many spirits are in here with us?
Eight.
Was it one of the nuns that liked to sing?
So you're in the hospital there at Carnwath trying to make communication. How often are you successful with this type of communication with spirit?
I say we are often very successful, but it really, really depends on the group that we have. If the intention is there for spirit communication, the likelihood of it happening increases. But if you have, someone skeptics or just someone who's not really interested, I mean, we'll get voices, but it may not be as, it drops. But the great thing is when we do have skeptics, and it does happen a lot of times, they'll turn around and knowing what we do and there's no radio, they'll start asking questions. So yeah, pretty much. I mean, well, how do you think it's
I'm gonna answer it again, and you'll notice that I have a propensity to keep kind of circling back to the metaphysical stuff because it matters so much. So that's a great question, and the question and the validity of the answer we give is predicated on a preconceived notion that because of this is a special and rare phenomena, that it probably doesn't happen all the time. And then if it does happen all the time, then it becomes suspect. Then it becomes a little bit suspicious because, well, wait a minute, it shouldn't happen all the time. This is a unique kind of a rare thing. But those ideas are based on unexamined assumptions that are rooted in an ideological position or a metaphysics. For example, right, for us, under idealism, if reality is fundamentally mental or mental processes, subjectivity, consciousness, right? Every metaphysical position has a drawback. Physicalism that says there's only physical stuff, and then your physical squishy brain creates your consciousness. Its drawback is what's known as the hard problem of consciousness, which suggests that there is no way to deduce, at least in principle, the qualities of experience from any physical parameters, any physical arrangements. No one's ever been able to show how a physical thing can give rise to the smell of a strawberry or the sweet taste of chocolate. It's not ever been possible, not even in principle, to explain. That's the hard problem of consciousness. That's what makes the worldview we have now, that physical things are all there is, and then mind and all that stuff comes as a byproduct of it. Idealism says that reality is fundamentally mental processes. Everything is consciousness. And then physical things are just how mental processes are represented to us through sense perception. The drawback or the detraction, the criticism for idealism is that if there is only one universal consciousness, one overmind that consists of reality, how do you explain all of us chuckleheads who identify separately, not as one person? And so Dr. Bernardo Castro, in his version of idealism called analytic idealism, looked at, is there anything in nature that would explain this? And there is. there's the mental processes, the mental states or condition that's known as dissociation. We see it in what used to be called multiple personality. Now it's called dissociative identity disorder, where one mind fragments into individual centers of subjectivity or identity. And if somebody's ever cured of that, if they have it, then when it's all gone, they realize all those thoughts and memories and feelings and stuff were all them. When we dream, same thing happens. When you dream and you're experiencing something, you identify as you. You're the dream avatar. You don't identify as the trees, the people you're talking to, the pets, the animals, the sounds, the music. You don't. But when you wake up, you don't mourn the loss of your dream avatar. You wake up and go, oh, that was all me. One mind. That's the premise behind idealism. So to circle back to the original question, which remind me again, I know sometimes I get so far.
He said about being successful in what we
How
do.
successful, right.
Yeah.
So based on that, if reality is fundamentally mental and consciousness, then we are always in the midst of mental processes. So it's not rare that something that could be through this process modulated into experience could be happening on a consistent basis, because we're always thinking and dialoguing to ourselves. So if we're amongst something akin to that as part of our reality, and again, not to keep harping and bringing back to the metaphysical stuff, but when we don't know our metaphysical stance, that's when we contradict ourselves, or we will invoke science and not realize that we're conflicting with it. The position is important, because what we're doing in the paranormal field, and you know, because you're in it, there's a lot of people doing ITC stuff and EVP work and video, and there's a lot of compelling evidence gathered by a lot of really brilliant people in the field. Voice phenomena, people who've been doing it for generations now, and there's a lot of people out there right now that are producing incredibly good voices through ITC or EVP methods. And what we keep doing is going, here's proof, here's proof, here's proof, here's another voice, here's proof, and we're not seeing the fact that we're stagnant, because what we're doing metaphorically is we're taking an 8-inch diameter ball and we're throwing it at a 4-inch diameter hole, and we can't figure out why what it is we're putting out there isn't getting through. We have to do something to influence and inform those whom which we are presenting this stuff, so that there is an acceptance of this that is supported as empirically as we can, as logically and reasonably as we can. And that's the reason why a metaphysical philosophy and a framework for what we think reality is important. Because people go, you don't think ghosts are real, you believe in that stuff, you think it's real? Well, how can you answer that educated without having an idea of what you think nature and reality is? It's important.
I think, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
I think the success rate has a lot to do with the intentions that is in the room.
Yeah.
So this can work great, but if the intentions in the room is not at its high or negative, we'll get some stuff, but we won't get as much. But if you get a good group with good intentions, it does increase the successfulness of what we get through the digital seance experience.
Right. And intention is mental process.
That's right. That's
mental process. So it feeds into that. I'll give you a great example. You know the saying, extraordinary circumstances or experiences require extraordinary proof or evidence. And I'm modifying it slightly. So it's called the Sagan standard. It came from Carl Sagan. That was his point. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence or proof. That is only true, hear me, only true if by extraordinary it is termed such because it exists outside of a belief or a framework, an ideology that says it's not possible. Because then you're breaking the rules. And in order for something to happen that is outside of what we believe and know is possible, it has to be extraordinary, because you're claiming something that is extraordinary. That's based on the metaphysical position of what you think reality is. That's physicalism or materialism saying this stuff is BS, it doesn't exist. So if you want to prove it and show that there's something to it, you need this grandiose explanation, this whole big song and dance. No, because the materialism or physicalism is flawed inherently as a metaphysics. So it can't you can't rule it out by design that way.
And you never win the fight anyway.
Right. If your framework for reality allows for these things, so for us under idealism, it's not supernatural, it's not paranormal, it's natural and normal. It's nature doing what it does, even if we don't always, through sensory input, detect it and have an awareness of it. It's still natural phenomena, excitations of mental processes of what is nature or reality. That's what it is.
Yeah, just like the things that we can't hear or see with our own tools because
Right.
they're limited, but it's there all the time and it's natural occurrences. We think that paranormal experiences are truly, in fact, normal experiences.
That's why the framework, the metaphysical framework, is important, because when we don't know what it is, most people probably lean towards physicalism, that there's a physical world out there and everything's physical and it creates consciousness in your head, and because that's how we were schooled for years, and that's the mainstream view for the most part, and it's run its course and it's not coherent, but that's still what's kind of out there. So if we're not aware of that, then we make decisions that are unexamined assumptions, and then we mistakenly will either rule things out, and even in doing that, when they go, oh, this stuff is BS, or you have to go to extreme measures to prove it, it's because it's not rational or logic. Well, what is logic? Logic is a collection of axioms. And what are axioms? Axioms are beliefs that are held to be self-evident, that are just true, and you just take them for what they are. That's how we're building our mental framework of what we think reality is. It's built on beliefs and things that we accept as given, which is the opposite. You think your experiences would build what you think reality is, but no, it happens the other way around.
We can't hear you.
Sorry about that.
There
We
you
have 2 minutes here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Ron and Lourdes from GonYac Paranormal are here. We're going to play your final EVP when we come back from the break, but I want to get into an audio question here from our audience here. This one from Search
Yeah.
and Destroy. Do you guys use a filter to extract the voices?
The answer is, for the most part, yes. I hesitate because we are so nitpicky on the words we use to describe what it is we think and do and believe. The process, the software component of the digital seance, where the white noise generators feed the computer, that is where the filtration happens. That's why when you heard those clips before, there was silent between the vocals. It's reducing the noise floor, and anything that through amplitude has enough resonance, enough amplitude to come through above the noise floor, doesn't get filtered out. So not so much extracting them, I guess, but kind of like if you remember when they found the Sphinx of Egypt in the Giza Plateau. When they first found it, it was a head, and they thought that's all there was. And then as they cleared away, they found out there was the whole body and the paws and the back, like a large cat or a lion. So that's kind of what we do. It's there, and what we're doing is we're trying to clear away the sand to make what is already there. There you go.
The debris, yeah.
Wow.
So more or less, yes.
All right, let's see if we can sneak in one question. We got about a minute here. Let's go to
Mhm.
Hilton. What's your end goal with this technology?
That's a really good question.
To help people. That's what it is. The minute we had that first experience with this young lady, 15 years old, and she believed her grandmother came through, and she asked a question about, Grandma, what's the show that we used to watch when I was a little girl? And I'm going to make up a name because I can't remember. Dr. Roberts, it came through. And when she heard that, she started crying. It changed her life. And through that experience, we knew this is what this is for. This isn't for us. This is for other people, to help other people have that closure, that message that they need. It's for the people. That's why we do it.
We'd like to make a difference and a dent in the field moving forward. We're all for that. But I think there needs to be, and there is to a degree, but there needs to be a lot more of a unified mentality. I think when this field got introduced to fame and celebrity, which it never had before,
Yes.
that's what a lot of people are driven towards, and it's not a unity anymore.
We got Ron, we got Lourdes here for another half an hour on Spaced Out Radio. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio. with your host, Dave Scott. All right, we are clear. All right. All right.
The audience questions are really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty special. Sleepy G, how you doing? And go here. Anybody else we're missing? I don't think so. All right, there we go. I think we have enough questions for the next half hour. So I'm going to shut the questions down in the chat room.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the questions. I love answering the questions.
Yeah, we do the best we can with them, and we're. I mean, at this hour, we're not.
Well, I'm wired now.
Yeah, we're good. If you go long for whatever reason to accommodate your audience a little longer, we're not.
Yeah, you can't get him to shut up. Just kidding.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. I'm having fun. So
Yeah, this is really cool. Yeah, your questions and the audience questions are really good.
appreciate that. Thank you. All right. JBD, how you doing? Welcome tonight.
Can you look at the comments?
I can now, yeah. They're not on the screen.
How often are you guys out paranormal investigating?
December we kind of go dark a little bit just to rest. January this year is particularly busy. February not as much, but when the year gets rolling,
March we start picking up.
we have stuff. Sometimes 3 weekends out of every month we'll have something.
I have to force him to take at least one weekend off.
Yeah.
So
I'm so grateful that we get invited and participate in so many things, and that we get asked to do so many things, that I have a hard time saying no sometimes. But then she's like, when are we going to rest?
We need a break. As much as we love it, we always too much of something is not good. Even this, you need a break from it.
Oh, yeah, Todd 8909 was mentioning, I was for a while I was doing Facebook Live sessions when I would run the digital seance. So I figured out a way that might work for us to do it, but through StreamYard a lot of times, because there's only one audio in and one audio out, you can have feedback loops and it'll distort the sound and it'll kind of, but what I used to do, I would go Facebook Live and it was just me, and I would run it through OBS, and then I would have, which I think I can do through StreamYard now. And I would do the sessions and people would just start watching and tune in and interact with it and stuff. And I got away from it because we got busy, but
I get that.
But we love going out and taking it out, because really the experiences that some people have, when it happens, it's just so beautiful to see when we're able to be blessed to give someone that experience. It's amazing.
yeah,
It's amazing.
it's not about us. It's not about us. If we can, like I said, do something to make the field move forward, if we can show that there's validity to this stuff and all that like that, we're all for it. But
I mean, I was raised, you always got to give back. I mean, that's how I was raised. Give back to my mom, we always had us do community service, church, anything that, that's what we did. And when we came across this, automatically, I was like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is a service to the people. This is what it is, and we need to do it.
yeah, if you go on our website, there's just a fraction of there's testimonials page where people put, these experiences they had through this. We just in November at the last Jersey Power Unity Expo we do every year, a gentleman who was very skeptical of all this stuff, recently retired police officer, skeptical when he comes in, got stuff that he heard that was very specific to his relationship with his grandparents who had passed not that long ago.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 family members. He believed 3 or 4 family members come through.
Yeah.
He cried.
In front of a room of strangers. He's in tears. He came in as a police officer who was skeptical, and he walked out someone who was touched, moved, and tears in his eyes. And in the first testimonial on our webpage is what he had written to us.
We have about 30 seconds to go. I'm going to say big thank you tonight to Kitty Caddywhack, Erica T-Bone with a super chat and a gift of a membership. And Benno, thank you so much for the love and support here on the mighty SOR. We really do appreciate it. Our store is always open at spacedoutradio.com. So make sure you check it on out. And of course, we're going to get going in 3 seconds. Into the second half of Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. We greatly appreciate you tuning us on in as we have Ron and Lourdes from GonYac Paranormal. They're here until the top of the hour. But first, reminder to all of you, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. On X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Final time tonight. Ron, Lourdes from GonYac Paranormal, thank you so much for an entertaining show of ghost talk tonight. Literally, ghost talk. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. If I can quickly, I think Hilton Littlewood asked about whether or not we take a medium with us to back up or verify. We work with a lot of different mediums. We've done this with Cindy Kaza, with Scott Davis,
Richard Michella.
There's a ton of them that we work with that we find to be very talented. So yeah, we do that, and we seem to be able to corroborate and support each other.
I mean, it's one of our favorite things because the mediums that we work with, they're amazing. And when they get relevant responses, it's amazing. The audience loves them. But when we turn this on and they can hear it from themselves, the same thing that the medium just said, it just blows their mind.
Yeah, the mediums too, right?
Right. Because it gives validity to what the medium said. You can say, she's a good medium. He's a good medium because they heard it from themselves when it came out through the Digital Séance Experience.
Yeah.
So that's one of the favorite things that I love to do is working with mediums. I like the collaboration.
Yeah.
Collaboration. I love it.
All right. I want to play this final EVP that you said for us tonight. It's a little bit long. It's about 4 minutes, but I'm very entertained to listen to this here. So here we go.
The Digital Séance Experience scans white noise, a combination of signals similar to the hiss of an untuned radio or television. His software filters through these frequencies and picks up any voices, allowing them to communicate with the spirit world in real time.
There's no word banks, there's no sound banks, there's no signal radio or otherwise. It's just the white noise. We're making more of what comes through audible.
Ron and Lourdes, they're coming into this cold. They don't know about the history. They haven't heard, these stories. And they're setting up in one of the most active places in this bakery, the kitchen. Our Haunted Tri-State production team is here. The cameras are up and they're ready to record every moment. So let's start the night. One of the first things we hear is...
In the basement?
Is there a basement here?
Yes. No.
That's true. Okay, that got weird quickly. And then just 5 minutes after we started, we hear two names. How many people are here tonight?
Virginia.
Virginia.
I heard Eddie.
Eddie. You heard it?
Eddie, what's up?
Wait, let's play that back.
Virginia. Eddie.
Okay, is this the Eddie that we've been hearing a lot about? Is he trying to communicate to us and letting us know that he's here tonight?
Eddie, were you here when this was not a bakery?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like Eddie is coming through, but there was another name mentioned.
Virginia.
So that's interesting to us. One of the first names that we heard on Ron's software was Virginia. Gerard has never heard that name mentioned before, but could that have something to do with one of our producers named Virginia?
Virginia.
I definitely heard my name. And I kind of pointed to myself, wondering, did anybody else hear it? And then we played it back. And then we all heard it. And that was so disturbing.
Could there be a spirit looking to connect with Virginia? But a name that they have heard before comes up right away, and that's Eddie. He seems to be dominating the paranormal's conversation.
Eddie?
I heard Eddie.
Eddie.
You heard it?
Eddie, what's up?
Being a trickster.
Eddie, you're the guy who plays pranks around here, right?
That's me.
That's right.
Eddie, we don't know who you are. We're new here. Why are you here, Eddie?
As you can see, there has been contact made with Eddie, who Gerard believes was killed when he was a teenager near the bakery. We are also hearing other voices, including a female. Could that be Gracie or Charlotte, the girls from the Civil War era?
Can you guys let Gracie say hello, please?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Where is she? Can she say hello?
That sounded like a female.
Excuse me, I heard.
While that is happening, Gerard shows us a photo on his phone that was captured in the alley attached to the bakery. He believes the shadowy figures look like two little girls. And then before we know it, we get confirmation.
Can Grace say her name? Please let Gracie say her name.
Gracie!
There it is.
Hey!
Thank you. Thank you.
Never gets old, man. Never gets old.
So we're now in the alleyway, and this is where they've gotten a lot of, activity and people feel things. So now we're going to listen.
Somebody say Eddie loudly if you can hear us. Immediately.
That is pretty incredible.
We had fun doing that. It was really cool.
We were happy because, we don't have complete control over communication, which is not because it's paranormal, supernatural. If I call my father 10 times and he doesn't answer the phone but once, I don't have control over that. And he's not a mythical creature, not that I know of. So it's just the nature of communication. We don't always know. So when it worked that well at a place that we had never been, we were really happy. We're actually filming with that same news crew in a couple of days this coming week at the infamous Shanley, not the Stanley, the Shanley Hotel in Napanoch, New York. That episode we did got over 90,000, 91,000 views. So they asked us to come back. That was a Halloween thing. They did a different team every month, and they aired it throughout October. But now, because it did so well, they have us coming out to do another thing, I guess. And I don't know when they're going to air the next one, but.
How much does your little device cost? And how many are there? Like, can somebody buy it on a website, or do they have to be specifically made?
Yeah, so it's not a box or a device. It's a method, and it involves. We use a few white noise generators, analog, and we run them through an interface, and that interface feeds the computer, which is where the virtual studio or the VST is, where the filtration and the slowing down of the white noise happens. When we were doing direct radio voice with just a radio and a vacant channel, and then Keith Clark from Paranormal, that's with a V, paranormal.com, introduced us to the software, we developed over a few years to the point of what we're using now for it. So there's a lot of different components and stuff. So Keith Clark, if people wanted to do this on their computer, he will, for a small donation, like he doesn't charge a lot. I don't even know what it is. He'll remotely install a virtual studio setup so that you can run something analogous to what we're using. But what started happening was he was doing that for some people, and then they all started calling me because they go, "It doesn't sound like yours." I was like, "Well, yeah, because I spent years working on this, and I have a variety of pre-saved profiles of settings to experiment with, trying to do different things with it. It's not something that we sell. There's a variety of reasons, and when I say them, people go, "Oh, yeah," but initially it doesn't hit you. If I said I will set up the computer, I'll either sell you the computer with the setup, or you give me yours and I set it up, and then you run this thing, and then it doesn't work. It could be your fault. It could be hardware, software. It could be my fault. But I would feel a responsibility if you give me $500, $1,000, whatever. I'd feel a responsibility to help you. If I sold this to 100 and something people, which is not even a lot, I don't have the time or the infrastructure to service that, which would be a responsibility I would feel I would own if I took people's money for it. So if somebody wants to do this, they can go to paranormal.com and reach out to Keith Clark. He'll get you the startup of the setup for it. And then, to me, this is where, if you truly have the entrepreneurial spiritual spirit, if you have that drive, you'll take that, what he did, like I did, and I didn't have formal audio training, and you'll work on a version of it. There are other people doing versions like what we do that have been influenced by what we do. We knew back in 2019, when nobody was doing this and it started to work, that was going to happen. So for us, it's almost like we're the band Queen, and then today there's a bunch of cover bands who are doing Queen songs. So we're not the cover band, but there are others out there, and it's nothing wrong with that, because we knew this was going to change the way spirit communication was done because of the purity, the fact that it's more vetted, and then how well it works. So that's fine. It's just, to sell it, to put it to market, was never what it was designed for. So someone would have to have a computer. They would get the generators and the interface to feed it, and then obviously like a speaker system, the speaker to use for it.
And it's more than that, because there is a process to it. We, in the beginning, had a routine. We picked a day that we would do this session, and at around the same time every week, just like the pioneers say, the more you do it, the better it gets. It's like working the muscle. So, and we did it for like 2 years. So, I mean, we did get voices right away, but as we kept doing it and kept getting that routine, it just got better and better and better. So I believe it's all of this, the laptop, the generator, and the whole process. But there's also something to having a routine, especially in the beginning, to build that connection. So it's like a journey. You have to put in the work to be able to get what it is for.
Yeah.
Let's get to a couple audience questions here.
Yes, please.
And let's start off with Jules here. Back in the 1970s, when I would get EVP on my little tape recorder, my dad always would rationalize it by saying, someone on a CB must have been driving by. Not as many CBs around now. Does that ever still happen?
So the answer is, I would say no. But when you're using something, and this is why we eliminated the use of a radio or anything that can receive a signal, because when you have signal reception, those kinds of things will come up. There was an instance when somebody actually got audio that came through a vacuum cleaner because of a dry joint issue with a connection. So when you have reception capability, it's possible. I've heard other instances when people were trying to use generators similar to what we use, and there was this heavy emphasis on electromagnetic interference and keeping that, keeping the EMI out and all that kind of stuff. But to me, that's counterintuitive, because we want something that categorically is interference, because there's no data or vocals or sounds or anything in the white noise that is producing words. So wherever these voices are coming from, whether they're emergent through consciousness and they're being transduced, that is, to the process, a form of interference. So we want the capability of interference, but what we want is, we want the process to be rigorously controlled, so that we know that the only interference we're getting is not coming from any of the normal reception or microphone or having word banks and sounds. The other thing to specifically talk to this is, even if you're using a tape recorder, and the idea of CBs or ham radios or baby monitors and all those things would come up. If you do, and I've done this before and it's been copied 1 million times now, I'll hold up my glasses at an event and I'll say, what's in my hand if you can see it? If you can't see it, tell me, but if you can, what's in my hand? And a voice will say glasses. So if you're doing a session at home with a tape recorder and recording for EVP, and you go, what's in my hand? And it answers that. If somebody wants to tell you that that's coming from a CB radio, then that truck driver needs to change his career, because he's clearly clairvoyant. for him to be able to see while he's driving what you're holding, and then with timing and relevance at that moment, answer the question, the precise answer at the precise moment that you asked it, unbeknownst to him, because he's driving a truck somewhere. So see how implausible the effort to dismiss and debunk that is?
And to me, it just doesn't make sense, because you're doing a little tape recorder,
right?
And someone passes by, right, with a CV. How did that little tape recorder with a C? How can it record? I don't see it, and maybe I don't know too much about it, but it just does. To me, it's just something that's happened that's unbelievable, and you just got to find something to explain it. But
yeah,
I think it's fascinating if you can pick up in a little tape recorder, because I don't see how that's even physically possible.
There's instances when stray signals would get recorded onto recorders,
Yeah,
and it could be something like that. But the thing is once you incorporate the timing and relevance, it's something that answers the question specifically to what you asked at that moment, or it's speaking to the environment, or it says, let's say it says red dress, and that's what she was wearing at the time, was a red dress. Then you have to look at how do you attribute that to a truck driver on a CB radio? It would be equally plausible to say that the Smurfs were real and conspiring to drive you crazy, and they're coming through on a radio by answering your questions. It's equally ludicrous to suggest, because it's completely ungrounded, and it's not even as hallucinations go, it's not veridical. It's not rooted in what's actually happening. So yeah, that's a rationalization that people do. Again, I'm going to circle it back to the metaphysics, because of the definition of what we think reality is, and everything's physical, says that this kind of psi phenomenon stuff isn't possible. So we look to explain it by saying, well, maybe it's something that's radio, or something that's transmitting a signal, and then your thing is picking it up, and then it's picking it up that way, and so it's not spirits or consciousness or whatever, but it's a guy on a CB radio in a truck who happened to say the right thing at the right time.
Well, that's the part that doesn't make sense to me, right? But yeah.
All right, here comes another question. Let's go to T-Bone here.
Love that name.
Yeah,
making me hungry, not gonna lie.
Good one. Have you ever had any phantom smells during your EVP sessions?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I would get them all the time. I don't know if during Digital Séance Experience, but in regular investigations, I've had phantom smells: candy cane, perfume, smoke, cigarettes, cigars. Yeah, I have had. Have you?
Yeah, I've had it happen with smoke before. With smoke, yeah, like cigarette and cigar, like smoke before. And again, under the idea that reality is fundamentally mental, then these things are sensory input stuff. It doesn't need to have a physical source that's causal. It can be something that
a memory,
right? Exactly.
We're smelling it, yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's go back to back with T-Bone. Have you ever gone to a site to talk to a certain entity and get an answer? Like, are you going for specifics at time?
Sometimes, yeah.
We have had that happen. Yeah, we have had that happen.
Well, I guess in my haunted manor.
Yeah.
That was specific. We asked a specific question about a woman being buried in the basement, and we got the answer.
Yeah. And what was really cool from that clip too, if you notice, was there was a level of contextual comprehension, because I asked, is it a male or a female person? And it said a woman.
Use another descriptive
so it
word.
used another descriptive word for this. It used a synonym for what I was asking. I gave two options, and it answered with one of those options, but there was a synonym that came through. It was a different word for the same thing, which showed to me an understanding or a comprehension of what it was we were asking and the context for the question.
Let's move on. Boondock is asking, do you ever have to record it backwards?
We have not.
We've never tried.
I know a lot of ghost box builders and a lot of the ghost boxes, and I think even apps may or may not do this, but they would run the sweeps or the process in reverse, because if anything came through and it was normal forward speech, then it would be a way to vet the authenticity of it. We don't have anything to run backwards, because we're essentially just using a noise floor or a bed of noise, of white noise, which is every frequency we can hear, as a springboard or a platform to transduce an inaudible, non-detectable signal into something that is detectable and sensible for us. So we slow the flow of the white noise down, because it's some of the pioneers that said these voices not only come in faster than we can detect, but they come in faster than the human vocal tract is capable of speaking. So we will slow them down in real time. But there's nothing for us to run backwards, because we're not using any audible fragments or any audio broadcast whatsoever.
United is asking, have you ever asked the collective about God?
We have had people at an event do that. And somebody asked if there was God or gods, like more than one God.
And I think the answer was many.
And the voice said many, and then the whole tone of the session changed too.
Yeah.
It was odd. It was a little odd.
How did it change?
It got less communicative, I think, and it seemed like it got a little bit more
Chaotic.
Yeah, a little more chaotic. That's a good
But
word.
that wasn't from the God question, though. That was
Well, that was part of it, but that wasn't the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
we
it's a
have.
taboo question with the spirit.
I'm sorry, I missed that question.
Is it like it's a taboo question with the spirits?
You know what? Your guess is as good as ours, because we don't know. Like, we got the answer, many gods, and there was some other question, and it kind of got a little dark, right? A little chaotic. So we took a break and came back, and then the mood changed back to what we like.
And we don't necessarily dive into stuff like that too much, because that's a very personal, interpretive question based on people's beliefs. As you know, when people have near-death experiences, someone from the Middle East may see Krishna or Vishnu. Someone who believes from Catholicism or they're Catholic, they'll see Jesus. Or so it's a lot of times those experiences are very personal.
Well, I would say that depending on the person and their beliefs, they'll get the answers that they're looking for. Because I think we're all describing the same thing, but just using different words. When, it's all the same thing. We're just using all descriptive different words. So when someone is Catholic, they'll get the answers that they're looking for. If they are, Buddhist or what, they'll get those answers. The many gods, I don't really know what it was referring to. But, I mean, who knows? But all we know is that it kind of changed, and we had to take a break.
Yeah.
A mental break in this field is always good. It really is. T-Bone is asking, have you guys ever experienced attachments like hitchhikers?
I had something that fits the description of that when I still lived on the West Coast, when I was new to this. And then I had a shaman in the group who did some kind of a ritualistic thing and seemed to end it. It was a very bizarre experience. It lasted 4 weeks. I didn't really notice anything was going on until it was like, I guess she said that whatever it was kind of around for 4 weeks, but the first 2 weeks I didn't really notice it. Yeah, I mean, attachment is a descriptive way of saying that there is some kind of a spirit or autonomous entity that's kind of sticking around with you and kind of interacting with you. There are schools of thought and philosophy which would call that the daimon, D-I-M-O-N, the daimonic, which is the impersonal. It's a semi-autonomous, I guess, cognitive neighborhood. It's semi-autonomous entity, you could say, that's impersonal. You'll feel its feelings. You'll even think its thoughts. They may feel foreign to you. If you've ever had that kind of like, I know I shouldn't do this because I could risk my job or my relationship or my safety, but you kind of do it anyway, and you put the money on that horse, or you do whatever that's not, morally right or legal like that, whatever. Some say that that's the demonic influence. It doesn't really give two hoots about you, but it just wants to work through you, kind of thing. So I may have had something akin to that.
Ron, Lourdes, thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. It's been a pleasure. GonYac, paranormal.com.
To Spaced Out Radio.
Thank you.
With your host, Dave Scott.
That was so much fun, guys.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you for creating some great radio for us.
This was so cool. We really appreciated the reference to have us on. That came from Mark, and then for you to have us on. This is really cool.
We weren't too chatty, right?
No, you guys are perfect. I love guests who can answer a question properly. You made my job easy, and you made a great show. We'll definitely do it again.
Thank you so much. We had fun. It was great.
Yeah, we really did. The questions were really good. The audience, I would have done another half-hour audience questions. They were really good.
As you can tell, he does love.
I do really enjoy. I do enjoy it, especially. I mean, everything about this show reeks professionalism. The opening, the way you did it, interact with the guests. You have a really good voice for this.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll let you guys go. We'll definitely do this again, and you guys go get some sleep. It's 2:00 in the morning where you are.
What time is it by you?
11.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
So, what part of Canada are you in?
I'm in British Columbia.
Okay, I've been to Toronto once, and back in the day, I did sportscasting for boxing and mixed martial arts, and I was in Edmonton, Alberta, a couple times.
Yeah, cool. I was a sports broadcaster too.
Oh, cool.
Not surprised with that
Look
voice.
at that. Very cool.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Let us,
Take care.
let us
Nice
know.
meeting you.
We're happy to share it out and everything too. So if it's any links and stuff that are available,
we'll do.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
Pleasure. Have a good night.
Thank you, Dave.
Aren't they awesome? Just awesome. I'll be right back. Mhm. All right. Let's bring in extra small. There he is.
It's been a struggle fest. Oh my gosh.
My chair is so uncomfortable.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay.
So uncomfortable. Bill Funk, welcome. How you doing? Who else has joined us here late? Beth from Adventures with Beth. What if it wasn't Beth? What if it's somebody else with an adventure?
Hey guys, I'm really sorry about earlier if you were trying to watch my show.
All right, your mic is better. I can
talk like this now.
Oh, you sound like a Mr. Gravelly.
Or I can talk like Lee.
Like me.
Here we go, buddy. 5 seconds. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Skyalytic. Skyalytic is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp.
This happened to my mom when I was around elementary school age. We live on a big farm, and the lane is really long. My mom always picked me up in elementary and middle school. She always said it was due to safety when I asked her about it, but I'm getting off track. The entrance to our farm lane sits between two very big hills. All of this is relevant to the story, though. You probably heard of the snipers that shook DC, that Muhammad guy and his little 15-year-old friend. My mom, we'll call her Sonia, worked at a place called Ground Round, a now-closed restaurant near the mall in my hometown. She was working the late-night shift when there were two men that came in and were seated in her section. At first, Sonia and her guests were having a good time, joking and kidding as she usually does. The conversation turned to the snipers in DC. The two men asked her opinion about them. Sonia turns to them and point-blank called them cowards. The men were angry at that, but nothing else was said. Time skipped to the afternoon of the next day. My mom was in the old farm truck, waiting for my bus to come drop me off. A bit more of information, I was almost the last one to get off, as we were the last bus stop. She was at the end of our long lane when a blue car comes past. It slowed down on the other hill to the right of our lane, coming to an almost complete stop. Sonia had the strong instinct to duck as she dove into the seat, almost to the floorboards. She crawled to the passenger window and peeks out, seeing the car has turned around and was coming back to do another pass-by. She remains on the floor, waiting for the car to go away when she remembered I was coming home on the bus. She panicked when she glances out the driver's side window to see the blue car is gone. She sits up just as my bus comes over and drops me off. I was none the wiser all of this had happened only a few minutes before I got home. It was a few days later when my mom recognizes the man in the car when the snipers were caught at the rest stop at the news broadcast. This was after the woman in the Home Depot was shot and killed. My mom never told me this until years later that we were watching a show about the snipers. I shudder to this day of what could have happened if my mom didn't duck, when she did, or if my family was ever actually in danger. I sometimes think I would have come home to find my mother dead in the truck or worse. The two of us dead and the snipers caught us when the bus dropped me off. I really do hope I never experience anything like that on my own, but my own life is beginning. May everyone please trust your gut instincts and be very observant of your surroundings. It may just save your life in the end.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, especially ones that hit home like that, head on over to Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. He has thousands of stories for you. You can listen all the time. I do when I'm not on the air because I enjoy that kind of stuff. So maybe you will too. Let's head to Lee.
Oh, I'm extra small, but it's big where it counts. Chasing Bigfoot through the woods on wild accounts. Talking ghosts in the dark, UFOs in the sky. Aliens laughing while they're cruising by. Yeah, Lee Strauss is out there. Hear that cosmic call? He's the legend of Element 115. Here on Spaced Out Radio's Q&A.
Just sets the tone coming into your segment, Lee. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing better now. Oh my gosh. I had such a problem with my computer. I started it all up, made sure the mic was working, everything was working great, and as soon as I started the show, my mic goes dead and I can't figure it out. And
You start talking like this, like you're out in the bathroom.
Well, nobody heard me, which was really bizarre. And so it was bad. It was really bad. Oh my gosh. You've got too many toys over there, Dave.
I have way too many toys. Hold on. Let's see what this one does.
I don't know. How's this one sound?
Oh, that's horrible.
Is it?
Yeah, that's really bad. Bad.
Well, I'm going to talk like Lee tonight for the remainder of this show. And
So, Lee.
Uh-huh.
All right. Enough of
All
the
right.
fun games here. Enough of the fun and games. Man, it's been, something that there's a lot going on right now, but yet is it any sort of big news that's happening? Some would say it is. Some would say it isn't in the UFO world. But first, before we get to that, we're making a programming change on our YouTube side. And we should tell people, because normally you come on right before this show.
Yes.
And you do that once a week, but you kind of want to expand that a little bit, but take away from another side.
Yes.
Your thoughts on what you're doing with Element 115 on our YouTube channel.
So I'm going to start doing some shorter content, more times a week. I spend my day at work and I listen to podcast after podcast after podcast. And I happen to talk with a couple people on the horn while I'm at work as well, and so we'll start discussing some of this stuff. And I start connecting dots, as I tend to do. And a lot of that stuff you guys never get to hear about. And I kind of want to bring that content to you guys on what my thoughts are about the news of the day and the things that are happening around ufology, but not just ufology, guys. There's stuff around our reality. And the big one that happened today was around CERN and the Project Looking Glass and the Mandela effect. That whole thing just kind of blew up for me huge today. It was massive. And then I got on the phone with my friend and it just went berserk. Right.
What happened?
And
I didn't hear that. What happened today with that?
Well, so my friend, actually, he's the one that brought it up to me, and because I tried to tell him about the Mandela effect. And he was like, oh, yeah, people are just misremembering things, right? And so then he heard a podcast today, and they were tying CERN and possibly the project Looking Glass Together, right? And how that might be changing our reality, right? And so then he brings that to me, and then I'm sitting there and I'm tying all these other things together for him. I'm like, well, it's this and there's this. It was just like all of a sudden, it was like I had this mental clarity just out of nowhere, just super mental clarity. And I just started connecting the dots one right after the other. And I was like, holy crap, I need to talk about this on the show, So I thought, well, on our previous discussion where I'm gonna start doing this other thing, and then I'm not gonna do element 115. It's like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and we're keeping the name element 115. I'm just changing how I do things. I'm not gonna do an hour before the show. But yeah, so all this stuff just kind of broke loose, and I really, we can get into that a little later, but for the show, what I want to do is do shorter segments. I'm going to come on. I don't know what days exactly it might, I might come on. I may come on, like you said, I might come on in the morning on a Sunday or something, but I'm not going to interrupt your show or Filthy's show, right? It'll be at other times. And so I have like these thoughts after I listen to certain shows, and I'd like to get that information out to people, so everybody can hear my take on things.
I love it. I love the idea. The more Lee, the better.
Well, I'm having a hard time with some of the guests, so I decided, let's just step away from that for a little while and kind of do a more of a Grant show, but on a smaller scale. I know with Grant we were doing an hour segment on Wednesday, but here we're gonna do like 15, 10-minute, 20-minute, and maybe once in a while I'll have a guest on, and we'll go and have a full hour show. So that's what you're gonna look forward, or I'm looking forward to doing for you guys. And like I said, I'm not gonna really pre-post that I'm gonna do this, because it's gonna be kind of a spur of the moment type thing.
Well, as long as you post it on our social media,
yeah,
that's all that matters. It's all that matters, little Lee Strauss, extra small with an extra large idea right there on our Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel. We appreciate you, buddy, for doing that. Let's talk some UFO stuff here.
Yes.
All right, because at the Soul Foundation podcast, okay, Dr. Eric Davis recently went on there and was saying some pretty incredible things. Josh Rutledge and I broke it down on the UFO report, but it seems like a lot of these scientists, a lot of these people now speaking are getting a little bit more brazen with what they are letting out, where a few years ago they were so tight-lipped you'd swear that they had some sort of stitches across their lips in order to keep their mouth shut, just enough room for a straw and to breathe, but they seem to be opening up. I mean, we heard that former President Bush, when he was head of the CIA, was apparently read into what happened at the Holloman Air Force Base incident back in 1964. I mean, there's a lot of this coming up here, man.
Yeah, that's a good thing for us. Lately I've kind of gotten excited about this, because I was always kind of, very doom and gloom about the whole thought that we were going to get disclosure. But with this current administration and our vice president coming out and saying that he believes in UFOs and that sort of thing, and that he wants to kind of get to the bottom of it, there's like this little glimmer of hope that I'm holding on to, that we are going to get more information. And the fact is that you've got people in this administration that are saying that they're interested in the subject, and maybe that they've had personal encounters with a craft. So this sort of news, I think everybody is hearing, and it's almost like they're tiptoeing around still a little bit, but they're saying, you know what, we can go farther with this. We can go farther. We can tell more of our story. We can get more of it out to the public. So slowly it's getting there. And what's really cool right now is what I've noticed is that threat narrative about the whole UFO thing, or the whole UAP thing, is kind of starting to disappear. That threat seems to be going away.
Well, I think people are realizing there is no threat.
Yeah.
There is no threat at all. The only people, and you bring up a very good point with this. Okay. So I'm going to tip my cap to you for that one. All right. The only people who are bringing up the threat are all of these cliques, these groups, these advanced groups that are looking for government budgeting and aid in order. Like, there's a bunch of startups, believe it or not. You can actually go look this up. There are a bunch of startup companies about UFO, or what they'll call UAP detection, for radar systems and everything, to try and bring in, and they will all blend this into the threat narrative, because there's one thing that military contractors know, that if they can create a threat, they are going to be paid, and they are going to be paid handsomely, like Lee Strauss type handsomely. Okay. And they are going to be able to use that to catapult themselves into the defense game, because it's not just a lottery ticket. This is a lifelong commitment for a lot of these people who want to be able to get in with the big boys. Maybe they're going to be able to get Lockheed or Raytheon or Palantir or any of these defense contractors to buy their goodies. Okay. And why not use UFOs? It's the next frontier. And if there really is a threat, why not play up on that threat by saying, hey, we don't know where they're coming from. We don't know what they are. We don't know if they're in the water. We don't know if they're in the sky. We don't know if they're time travelers. But they're getting close to airlines, and look how close they're getting to all these military bases. Well, gee whiskers, what about the ones that are right over people's houses? Yes. That are not drones? What about all the ones that are, over people who are camping in the middle of a forest in the middle of nowhere? What about the people who have the audacity to be able to summon these things in at will? What about them? But as long as they can keep the threat narrative, I think that's what it is. But I think that the UFO public, after years of being told of this threat narrative, are finally trying to get back to just good old ufology. Yeah. And I'm noticing more and more people going back to ufology, not this apology crap that's out there. Your thoughts?
Well, even the term UFO versus UAP, I'm actually seeing a lot of people, Dave, turn back to calling them UFOs instead of UAPs. There's been a major shift lately within the last, I would say, 4 months with that as well. There just doesn't seem to be the threat is not there, and it's plain for people to see, even though they're looking at our military bases and that sort. Nobody's really getting hurt. And if they are, the government's tight-lipped about it. So they're not acting as if it's a threat. Yes, once in a while they're scrambling their, F-35s or whatever, but there's no threat there. They move off, they fly away. They don't engage with our aircraft. They play around sometimes with our aircraft, and then they're gone. They just take off. Nobody's getting hurt. And unless they can do some sort of a false flag with this and say that, they're attacking us in some way, they're not going to get their money. They're coming out and they're actually telling us, we don't know what they are, which is a bunch of hogwash. Of course they know what they are, but our government's acting like it's not a threat.
You know where I noticed that exact statement? Richard Dolan, UFO historian.
Mm-hmm.
When the whole term UAP started to become popular with the TDSE, and everybody was UAP this, UAP that, he immediately went from a UFO historian to everything UAP. UAP was every second word out of his mouth. And I'm exaggerating there a little bit, but I have noticed in all of his work, a lot of his work now that's printed online, there isn't much mention of UAP anymore. It's back to UFOs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. There's that distinction, and I think everybody realizes that UAP probably means something that's made by man that we don't know what it is. And UFO is genuinely a spacecraft from somewhere else, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why, and I'm not going to go on my prototypical rant that I go on between UFO versus UAP, because friends don't let friends UAP.
That's right.
Okay. But here's the thing that I think we're really, and more people are starting to wake up to the fact that UFOs are unidentified flying objects, just what we think they are, potential alien spacecraft. And more people are starting to realize that these UAP, everything under the sun is being called a UAP. It could be a weather balloon. It could be a birthday balloon, a garbage bag that got caught up in a windstorm and flew up into the atmosphere. It could be another plane. It could be a missile. It could be a drone. Okay. They keep changing the definition of what a UAP is.
Right.
And everything that we have learned about UAP, including people talking behind the scenes, they are man-made objects. So are we trying to track UFOs or are we trying to track UAP? Because there's a lot of radar that can detect UAP. And from what we have learned, there's not a lot of radar that can detect UFOs.
There's a passive radar system, and I've heard that there is other radar systems as well that are able to track UFOs. So I don't know the distinction between the two, but I'm quite certain that we are very capable of tracking UFOs versus UAPs, and know the difference between them.
I think it's going to be a bigger conversation as this turns around. Because I think a lot of the UFO world is tired of all of these people just jumping in. Not that there's anything wrong with these good people who are researching it, because every day we're going to get new people coming into this field, whether it's new podcasts, new people with information, new names, new experiencers, etc. Okay. But I think people are tired of these groups coming in and trying to change everything because of this so-called stigma that goes along with UFOs, like keywords, trigger words in our field. UFO, UFOs, extraterrestrials, aliens. We're not supposed to say aliens or extraterrestrials anymore. It's supposed to be NHI, non-human intelligence. Okay. There's all of these little, kickbacks instead of summoning or CE5, which has been the protocol for decades. Now it's psionics, and a lot of people will say that, oh, the terminology doesn't matter, Dave. You're blowing, little things into big things, and, it doesn't matter, but it does. It does. We only got about 25 seconds, Lee.
We'll save it for the next section, but there's other things here that are NHI that are human made, so they can blur the lines all they want.
But that's what it's about. It's about blurring the lines. It's about making a false credibility when they don't have to. We're going to get into that and more, the Q&A with the man we call Extra Small Lee Strauss, Element 115 on our Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel, and just a nice gentleman. This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host. All right, we're clear. Hi, Hard Hidden B. Welcome to SOR Chat.
I've got it at the tip of my tongue and I want to get it out.
Dude, I am just jonesing right now to get the forest.
I bet you are.
I literally may have to take my Jeep out. And like I parked my Jeep for the winter.
Yeah.
Right. But I may have to take it out just to go for a ride.
Yeah, definitely do. When we get back on, I want to talk about AI and NHI.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What about NHAI?
Yeah, well,
that's the next one.
Well,
Little Cam on YouTube. Little bit late tonight for the show. You know why he's late, Lee?
Why is that? How many
He was in
push-ups?
the gym. He did 740 curls in 45 minutes. At guess what weight?
15.
No, not at all. 110. 110 lbs.
Wow.
740 curls in an hour and a half. His arms are jacked for tonight. His arms are so jacked and his fingers are so jacked, he couldn't type on his phone keyboard spaced out radio, and that's why he's late.
That's it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's hard to believe, but it's true.
I'm glad you have all the answers.
That's what I do. What I do. I should probably fire up my Jeep. I haven't fired it up in a month and a half.
Oh yeah, you definitely need to
I know it hasn't been that long. I just got a big pile of snow I gotta burn through in order to get it out of my car.
Get to it, yeah.
Because when when I clean my patio off, I shovel it right off. It builds these piles up,
Oh yeah, I could see that. You got a big deck there to shovel off too.
I do have a big deck.
Yeah. Massive deck, just monstrous.
Mm-hmm. It's a monstrous deck.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. We're having such a warm winter here in Washington.
Oh, Erica Stover's Alexa is listening to SOR and just made a comment about UFOs and UAPs. She just told me I'm listening to SOR, LOL, and was interested in the subject in the chat. Oh, hi, Alexa. I'm Lee Strauss, extra small. I'll tip my cap to you, Alexa.
Oh boy, here we go. You got to change your voice, remember?
Oh yeah, hold on.
Hi, Alexa. I'm Lee Strauss. My show is Element 115 on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel.
Remember to chew your food.
Chew your food. God, I love that, man. That may be one of the
greatest things you've ever brought to this show.
Yeah. What I guess what you don't know won't hurt you then.
Mm-hmm. Chew your food, people. Chew your food.
Yeah, I have.
Beth says, I'm being so good at not typing what I am thinking. I don't know what you're talking about. We got about a minute to go here, buddy.
Oh, plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
But yeah, I can't. So most likely tomorrow I'll do a show on the stuff that I was going to do a show on tonight.
Cool.
Talking
I am Lee Strauss, and I'll be doing a show tomorrow on Spaced Out Radio. The new Element 115 breakdown. AI, NHI,
CERN. Yep.
Mandela effect.
Through the Looking Glass project as well.
Don't forget to chew your food, people.
Good Lord, this guy's got it down.
Thank you to Two Shadows, Kitty Catty Whack, Erica Stover, T-Bone, and Benno. And T-Bone, thank you for the membership gift. And here we go. We are into the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We got extra small Lee Strauss from Element 115 hanging on out with us, as we always appreciate him coming on in at this time each and every week. But first, we want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. Check out our swag. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Right before the break, Lee, we were talking about AI, NHI, EIEIO.
There you go.
Fill us in.
So what I was thinking, you're mentioning NHI, non-human intelligence, right? So if they're going to blur the lines again, once more, like with what they did with UAP and UFO, they could do the same thing with NHI, because a lot of the AI that we're putting together, we're building now, is basically NHI. It is intelligence that is non-human, right? And they're putting this NHI, the AI, into things like drones, which are UAPs.
Right?
Right. So once again, they're blurring the lines. So let's just stick with aliens instead of, or ETs instead of NHI.
I agree with you. I want to ask you something, because I had Daryl Denton on recently. And Daryl is a proponent of using devices, human devices, to try and get some sort of relationship trading going with Sasquatch. Now, one of the things that he talks about is jars of peanut butter. Apparently, Bigfoot loves peanut butter. Okay. And apparently, many people claim that because Sasquatch has opposable thumbs, like human hands, it knows how to twist the lid off. It knows how to get into the peanut butter. Whereas something like a bear would try and rip it apart. It'd probably jump on it and flatten it out in order to get the peanut butter out. What's your thoughts on putting food items? Like, we always hear people, well, you should put apples out. Sasquatch loves apples. Put them up in a tree, tie a bag of apples, raise it up into a tree higher than what a bear could get at it. Put it at about 10 feet, 11 feet. Sasquatch should be able to get that. What's your thoughts on using any type of food as a gift?
I always use apples. Before I go out and do any sort of looking for Sasquatch, I'm looking for a better term, but I don't have it. When I go out there to do Sasquatching, I usually buy a bag of apples, and I'll put them out and I'll set up trail cameras. As many times as I've done that, which is probably, 15, 16 times, I've never caught Sasquatch on trail camera, but the apples are always gone. I've never caught anything taking the apples. So if you're just trying to get a relationship going with a local Sasquatch that may be in your area, I think it's a great idea to foster a relationship, but don't put out the cameras then. You know what I mean? Because they're going to see that they're there and they're going to mistrust. They're not going to trust you as much. So I would say yeah, go ahead and leave them things like peanut butter or fresh fruit or maybe even some vegetables, but don't use trail cameras. Try to figure out some other way. There was one thing I did buy last summer that I haven't brought out of the closet yet, and that's one of those mesh that you can see out, but they can't see in. It's like a mesh tent, right? So you could film from inside of this tent, film outwards, but nothing can see into the tent. It's almost like a hunting blind, right? So that I would love to take out and use this coming spring and see what I can do with it. Because they wouldn't be able to see what we're recording.
I don't know how I would feel about that. That's not a big defense mechanism, a thin line of, whatever a tent is made out of.
But see, my experiences, from the past, being out there looking for them and sleeping in a tent or sleeping in a hammock, they've always come at night. They've come around. We can tell that they're around in camp. But this time with this thing, you could set it up, and they believe in their minds that you're in a tent and you can't see them. You know what I mean? Unless they're able to read our thoughts, but which is possible, I suppose. But yeah, I think
here's the big one for you. If you take a place like Flight 21, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you were up there, you wanted to camp up there.
Mm-hmm.
Until you got there, saw what it was like, then you were like, well, I would camp up there, but just not in that location.
Yeah, there's that T, or not the T, but there's that split in the road when you start heading to the Flight 21. Right at that T, I would camp there and walk that road at night with people, but there's no way that I would camp at Flight 21.
Why not?
Now, if I brought that hunting blind up and we all were in that might be a really interesting situation. We might get a lot of activity around us.
That is possible. I am I'm telling you, man, I am just jonesing to get back up there. I've been thinking about it a lot the last week and a half, and I just cannot wait to get back and just get back into action.
You could go up there if you have a friend that's got some snowmobiles, or if you could rent them. I mean, think about this. In the snow, Dave, you're going to see all those footprints of all the animals that are out there. And just think about all the footprints that we saw when we were out there, even that 3-toed thing that we saw. I mean, the snow is perfect.
Oh, I know that. I know that. But it is a matter of safety too, right?
Yes, and you do have to have somebody with you.
People get stuck all the time. Okay, like one of my friends, he's on the local search and rescue team.
Mm-hmm.
He got called out 1:00 in the morning because they had to go find somebody who went up the mountain, and they got stuck in a snowbank because their drive shaft broke. And that person was up there for 7 hours in probably minus 20 degrees Celsius weather.
Go with friends and take multiple vehicles. That's all that's what you'd have to do.
Getting back to the peanut butter thing, though, I have been very, very adverse to bringing any kind of food into that area. Number one, I don't want to build a relationship, if there is a relationship, with the entities that are there, namely the Sasquatch. I don't want them be reliant on me for food.
They wouldn't be reliant on you if you bring them food. You're gaining their trust. And it doesn't have to be peanut butter. If you want to use apples. But you're still giving them a gift, right? I know that you leave stones and stuff for them and whatnot, and they've left stuff for you with feathers and whatnot. But I think food is the quickest way to an animal's stomach. Think about, they're smarter than a dog, but think about a dog, or think about a small child, or something else. You know, one of the best gifts you can give them is food, right? A treat that they're not getting normally.
Oh, I get that. I get that. But I'll tell you why I've changed my mind on the peanut butter thing. Okay. And that is because we don't have raccoons up here. Raccoons are the only other ones with opposable thumbs that could open a jar.
Well,
so through process of elimination, it would be kind of cool, because I mentioned this to Robin Haynes the other night with the peanut butter. Okay. And literally, you know, they'll stick their fingers in. You got a good chance of getting fingerprints in the peanut butter, or teeth prints on the jar, or, you know, some sort of, you know, I mean, they use the plastic jar now. They don't use glass jars for peanut butter anymore. Sad state. Remember the glass jars of peanut butter?
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
Yep.
Right. But I think it would be a really cool experiment. And to put 2 or 3 out there, okay? Put 2 or 3 out there just to see what happens.
Yeah,
I don't have trail cams to figure it out. Probably won't get anything, because things seem to hide, or they seem to be able to cloak themselves, like you with the apples. Like when you put your apples out that disappeared, were they hanging in a tree, or did you just leave them on a stump?
Sometimes I stuck them on a branch. Sometimes I leave them on a log. I put them in a stump. I leave them, you know, all over the place, on a rock, that sort of thing. It's just, they're so quick when they go to grab something, either that or they're cloaked, that I can't get photos of them. The other thing that I've noticed too is, of course, with any type of electrical equipment that you've got out there, somehow they're able to either turn your equipment off, or you go back to it. Everything's set up perfectly, and you've got 2 pictures, and it's like of a leaf falling, and you've got a span of 6 months sometimes. It just, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense that they can affect the equipment the way they're able to. And then, you know, if they don't affect your equipment, the apples are gone and you've got nothing. And these trail cameras have like a 0.02 trigger, and they're supposed to be so quick and so fast. As soon as something is in the screen, they're supposed to be able to take a shot, a photo, or a video. But we're still not getting it.
No, we're definitely not getting it. And other people have said that too. Or other people have actually caught on camera, on trail cam, like orbs of white light that come around the apples, and the next thing you know, everything goes dark and the apples are gone. Like, what are these orbs taking apples? So I am going to try the peanut butter, though.
I think that's a good idea. Just like for what you're saying too, if they stick their fingers in there, and you know, if you had some hydrocal, then you could put that in there and let it set up, and then you'd have those fingerprints, right?
This is where I'm thinking of putting them. Okay. I'm thinking of putting one at the gifting site, one at the poop site, because that was kind of straight ahead. You saw where that was. And that's also where the loud tree knocking happened last year. And I'm going to put one way off in the distance. If you remember the trail we turned and walked way down that kind of bent, where Tim and I got the photo, or Tim got the photo of the Sasquatch in the tree, Sasquatch face in the tree, put one over there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, you're not doing it wrong, that's for sure.
Because you found that print in the moss way off in that area. There was a few prints there. There was a track there of about 4 or 5.
Yes. There was quite a few. There were some on the road and there were some off in the moss. So you've got a lot of activity. It's just a matter of how do you document? If it takes peanut butter and no trail camera to document something, you got to think too, you could have hares as well, with the peanut butter. So
hares as in rabbit hairs?
Hares, like hairs from the Sasquatch.
Oh, I thought you meant rabbits. Darn it. You're the kind of guy who would use hair instead of rabbit.
You know what else you might want to think about trying too is syrup, maple syrup.
Why don't I just bring him a bottle of whiskey?
Making pancakes out in the woods.
Holy cow. What, you want me to bring him a spatula too, so that way they can flip their flapjacks, or what?
I'm sure you could come up with some sort of sticky, sweet, combination of things that they would just go nuts for.
You know what the worst take on pancakes is ever? I'm a big pancake guy. I can't stand it. You remember when McDonald's, maybe they still do, they called their pancakes hot cakes?
Wasn't it McGriddle? Oh no, that was with the meat. Yes, hot cakes. That's
hot cakes. That's what a horrible saying for pancakes. Okay. I mean, I can tolerate flapjacks. Okay. Even though there's nobody named Jack flapping at them. Okay.
They're pancakes. They're sponges. They're not even pancakes.
I think I found a new pet peeve. Can't stand the hot cake steak.
No.
Not stand it. But syrup, though, that would be interesting.
Yeah. As long as you could keep it in the same type of container.
You'd have to get proper maple syrup, though, because a lot of the store-bought is so chemically advanced. I wouldn't want to do that.
Chemically altered, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You got about 3.5 minutes here, buddy.
You've got molasses too. I mean, there's stuff that you could do. I'm just trying to think of a way where you can gather some hairs from them.
Yeah. We could put my beard out there. I'll shave my beard. True story for the people who didn't hear it. Okay, on the last show. My dad came up and he brought Christmas presents up from my daughter. Okay. And I open it up, my present for my daughter, and it's a beard care kit. Beard shampoo, beard moisturizer, a beard oil, and a beard brush. I was all prepared to shave my beard in the next week or two. I'm just getting tired of it. I want to, I got called Santa Claus way too much this winter, man. I really did. Okay. So now I can't shave my beard because my daughter just bought me this, and I got to make sure I'm using it and taking care of myself and, putting in that beautiful essence to make my beard glow and look absolutely gorgeous. Okay. So I can't shave my beard. So here's the dilemma I'm in right now. Besides hating the word hotcakes. Okay. They don't even use it as 2 words. They use it as 1 word, hotcakes. Bugs me. Damn you, McDonald's. I'm thinking of coloring my beard.
What?
I am thinking of coloring my beard. Going back to my original color,
Okay.
of dark brown. You know, I'm not going to do one of those woke colors.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
No, I'm not going to go a bright fuchsia or anything like that. Or periwinkle. Not going to do that.
Well, I was just thinking about the color of your favorite sports team, Dave, is what I was kind of.
The Edmonton Oilers, yeah, the blue would be nice. The blue would be nice. But I'm thinking about going back to my original color. That's what I'm thinking of doing. I don't know if I should because, the big thing is like for a man, when we color our hair or color our beard, people look at us differently.
Yeah.
They don't look at us the same as they do with women. Women, doesn't matter what age a woman dyes her hair, 9 times out of 10, it looks stunning. Stunning. Right. If you were me to do it, and I know it's tough for you because you only got the Homer Simpson look up top. Okay. But if you and I were to do that, people would be like, what are you doing here? Like, what are you trying to do? Your beard's white, man. Like, what are you trying to do here?
You have to do it all, Dave. Everything. Your hair.
Yeah, I would have to do my hair and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Just for Men Club, here we come. Here we come.
Absolutely. Right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Right? Right? Like Joe here in the chat room before we go to break. Color your beard. Is the color going to match your high heels? See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there.
Dave in a pair of red bottoms.
Right? Yeah. Lee, thank you from Element 115 on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. We love it when Lee Strauss is with us as we say goodnight to Lee. Goodnight to all of you. And hello, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job tonight, Extra Small.
Hey, man. There's some people here in the chat room that want to make sure that, if you dye, if you dye your hair and your beard, that you dye the rest of your whiteness too.
I'll make sure the back hair gets done.
Yeah, the back hair. The drapes got to match the carpet, pal. Oh boy. Good stuff, Dave. Good stuff.
1 second. Can't figure out how to spell seances right now. There we go. You know, I was having a skinny day until I turned my chair and I looked in the camera and I'm like, oh God, do I look chubby? Oh, that's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. What are you doing, Dave?
The
What are
camera.
you thinking?
The camera puts 20 pounds on, man. We know that.
Oh, yeah. In my case, it's like triple that.
I had to start fasting. I was having some serious issues. Whatever I came down with, I think really messed me up. And so I had to fast for 24 hours and then every day now, 12 hours between 4 and 4. It's rough. No flapjacks for me, let me tell you.
Oh my God. Oh, Erica Stover. I'm going to put it up. You're going to get embarrassed, but I'm going to put it up. Thanks for the birthday dong, Dave. You're welcome. I'm always happy to sing happy birthday. The happy birthday dong is always a good song to sing. I'm such an idiot. Such an idiot. Oh. Is anybody else like me when you see a kid wear a hat like this where it's like poking up at the back end that you just want to like slap it off their head?
That doesn't bother
Or when
me.
they wear it crooked and
Crooked. Yeah, that's something.
Oh, I just want to slap it off their
Yeah,
head.
it's just, what are you trying to be?
Bright night, how are you? I'm gonna check my stuff here. After so much time that I have wasted typing out the intros or the bios on Spreaker, I just realized recently, as in the last 48 hours, that I can download the show and then go back in and put our YouTube bio in there, a quick copy and paste.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, how did I not know this prior to this? Like, where the hell have I been? I've only been doing this for how long? And yeah, that's how brilliant I am right now. Yeah.
Well, I'm still learning how to use the chat on the side. I know there's shortcuts that you can use, but I haven't figured out what they are yet.
What do you mean? You just type your shit in.
Yeah, but see how they're all saying like at so-and-so?
Oh, yeah, that I've never figured out.
So like if I want to respond to somebody, I actually have to type their name out instead of like, I would think it'd be intuitive to click on them and then like respond somehow.
Right.
I'm just trying to do it now, but
put
it's
on
not
all our
working.
links and everything in here. It's pretty freaking sweet. Pretty freaking sweet. That's all I'm saying. There. Now it's in there. I click on it. That full thing should be in there. There it is. There it is. Look at that.
Ding, 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 ding.
Mm-hmm.
Star with this, Lee. Okay, so at. All right, let me see.
So if you're reading on X right now, I don't know if whether you love him or hate him, Elon Musk is so entertaining on X. So Apparently, X is suffering a widespread outage in the United States right now. And Ryanair types, perhaps you need Wi-Fi at Elon Musk. And then Elon Musk posts, should I buy Ryanair and put someone whose actual name is Ryan in charge?
Yeah.
To be that rich, to be able to do that just because you're on a whim, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't like, I'm going to buy this business just to put someone named Ryan involved. That's funny to me. That is completely funny to me.
Yeah, Tim Mothman, it's not working on this end if I do that.
Type in XS first. Alpine Fur, aka Thomas Rock. How you doing? Once again, I said if you love him or hate him, it doesn't matter, Uncle Rebus.
Yeah, who cares?
Okay. It's okay. We got you. We got you covered. Got you covered. You know what I'm going to do again for the third weekend in a row, Lee?
What's
I'm
that,
gonna
buddy?
try and figure out how to make AI commercials that never work, and I get frustrated and slam my computer, and then go upstairs in a huff and watch football. That's what I'm going to be doing this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh,
I cannot figure it out. I read all the rules and I follow the rules to a T, the step 1, step 2, step 3. And
Yeah.
usually by step 3, my program doesn't have what they're telling me to do. Oh, yeah, look for this section at the top right. Where is it? It's not there. Well, it should be there. Well, it's not there, you filthy animal.
Well, here, let's see. I'm connecting my phone, where I've got a lot of my videos and photos and shit.
I even went on Grok after you told me to use Grok.
Yes, sir.
I went on Grok and it told me it wouldn't allow me.
What were you trying to do?
I'm trying to build the commercials so that way people don't stare at my chair all the time.
I gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Video, image.
Drives me nuts.
Video.
And I don't want to, like, I can build commercials, okay, but they're going to be so basic. People are going to be like, really? This sucks, man.
Well, yeah, they're hard to do and get them to come out like you want. You'll spend a lot of time, but it's a lot easier than trying to make your own from scratch.
I tried to make a spaced out radio one, okay, for our store.
Yes.
I even provided the logos that I wanted in there.
Yeah.
And it made up its own SOR logos that look nothing like ours.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you complete AI
garbage.
F.
They're very difficult. If you don't know exactly what you want and just have it go, it's probably not going to come out right. And then even when you type out exactly what you want, you probably have to do it 6 or 7 times before it gets close to what you are looking for. So it's very frustrating. Let's see, what is this one? Make sure audio is all the way down. This one's for you guys. Spaced out radio. Let's see here. What is this? This is under details. Movies. Studio.
You know what needs to be illegal on the internet?
What's that, bud?
Is when you get all of these, like say you type in free AI. Like I'm not paying for any AI video programs until I know they work. And when you
Right.
type in free AI and all of these sites come on, and then you have to sign up for it, which is fine. Don't mind signing up. But then you have to give your credit card number because, you know, you have to pay for a membership to actually get the good stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not free. That's not
Right.
free. It's false advertisement. If I did that in my daytime business, I could be sued for bait and switch.
Yeah, no good. No good, my friend.
Lurly. Is that what it is? Lurly? Lurly. How you doing so far? You look fine. You know, might want to have some ointment on hand just in case. I don't think I've ever used the word ointment on this show.
That's a first.
That's why I said I don't think I've ever used it.
Okay, I'm gonna play the little commercial I made for you that's a minute long. Do you mind?
Please. Go ahead.
That's it.
That's kind of cool. Got some ointment happening there. 1 second here, buddy. You know what I'm going to do after the show here? I'm going to do something really badly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's my daughter's birthday. My daughter's birthday. At 12:59 officially PM, not AM.
Uh-huh.
And quickly text her.
Yeah.
No, I never text her until 12:59. No, I'm not going to break that streak.
So do this. If you want to sit down with me and let's try to come up with some commercials, I can try to build them for you.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll give you a call this weekend about it.
Okay.
Probably on maybe tomorrow night.
Okay.
You don't have any dates like feathering your wigs, don't you know?
No, we don't feather our wigs or
okay.
Yeah.
So oh, you could kick me in the shins if you want, buddy.
That's all right. I left my dirty pillow at your house.
Did you?
Yes. On your couch downstairs.
Oh, I'll have to go look.
Oh, you don't even know it's been how many months.
I'll have to go look.
That's funny.
All right. I am going to be redoing that downstairs room here pretty quick. Making it into a nice little hockey section for the boy.
There you go.
Yeah. And put this in here. Let's upload that. All right, everybody. We're going to call it the night here. Because old Davey needs to get up for work in the morning. Yeah. So, yeah. It just doesn't end. Doesn't end. I will be back on Monday night where my guest will be the lovely, the talented, the amazing Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress. Monday night. Make sure you are here. Thank you to T-Bone. Thank you to Eric on her birthday, Kitty Cattywhack, Benno, and Two Shadows for the super chats. An extra special thank you to T-Bone for gifting a membership tonight. That's very nice. That's very nice. Yeah, very nice. He does that all the time for our fellow listeners. That's so nice. Lee?
I'm getting my hairs cut tomorrow.
I should be getting my hair cut. I got to book an appointment. Have a great weekend, buddy. Much love to you.
All right. Talk to you later, sir.
Good night, everybody. Be safe this weekend.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.